Anybody listening, please tag some people's, and I'm getting ready to tag some people's too. But David, while I'm doing that, if you want to go ahead and start, just crack
Okay.
open what we're doing here.
I'm not used to doing this on my phone. Yeah, so the main reason why I wanted to have another live, we haven't done it in a while, for one. But also because like it's so much going on with all of these moves and not just with the Bulls, just in general, that I really haven't even processed all of it. And like I know I've been seeing what you call it, posts, like where are we? Like, where do we rank? All that stuff. And I honestly have not even been able to process all the moves that all these teams are making to even say that. You know what I'm saying? And it's still going on. So I figured like we should probably at least get together, talk about the draft, talk about the free agency moves, maybe talk about the Olympics, Zach being in the Olympics and all this stuff. Just a little bit if we got time.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot all about the Olympics.
I've been watching it. NBC
It's
covered
been a
it.
blur. It's been a blur ever since trading. Free agency started. So it's
Yeah. But like
like,
Yeah, it
this
has.
is not
Everything's moving so fast paced.
yeah.
You know?
This is just not something that we're used to, right? As Bulls fans, where the
No.
minute free agency hit, we're like doing all kind of stuff. Like we're not used to that.
no, and it's funny you
You
mentioned
know
that.
what?
Go ahead.
I would say what we are used to is disappointment and excuses from the same management over and over and over again. So we're hurt. We're like stepchildren. We just grow up and we expect to be hurt. And so for all this to happen, it doesn't even feel real.
Right.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah. They would sit on their hands as and if they do make a move, it'd be some nominal,
Yeah.
something that don't mean
Bringing
a
Kirk
whole lot.
Heinrich back.
Yeah, or some old ridiculous, something that like that moves the needle for who, you
Yeah.
Some
know.
Asian player
And then
from
you get Paxton to come on and say, well, there was really nothing out there that was interesting us, and like, man, all these people moving around and nothing interests you. So that tells me one or two things: you're woefully incompetent, have no clue what you're doing,
Mhm.
or you're lying and they don't. Nobody's going to come here because of you.
The crazy thing I thought about is like the Bulls really didn't have a whole bunch of cap space. So, like, ordinarily, I would be thinking we're not going to be able to get this person, that person, because we don't have cap space. Because I think Gar Pax had me looking at it that way, because that's how they moved. But these dudes, shout out to whoever their cap dude is, because they figured out how to maneuver all of these signing trades and whatnot, and just basically forget about the cap. We don't care nothing about having cap space because we operating like a big market team now, like
Yeah.
the Lakers or
outside
whatever.
too.
Yes. Who just joined us? We can't see you.
Like remember when Carmelo was a free agent a few years back, and like we had a good team, but we didn't have the cap space for him. Like
Right.
this is the type of move we could have been doing something like this to bring Carmelo into the cap space,
But they were going.
signing trades.
They
But
were going to make room for him. He just. I don't know what his did. He really disappointed me because he was just
he wanted
chasing.
the money.
He wanted the bag. He didn't care about winning. There's no way in the world he can convince me he thought he was going to win in New York. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
no.
Yeah, I agree with that. He
Yeah,
But
didn't
man,
have
I
enough talent.
never imagined that they could have pulled off all of these moves. Like we basically got Lonzo for nothing. I mean, we basically just signed Lonzo Ball because while we lost is Satoransky, who we probably were going to either cut or dump anyway. And who was the other person?
um, somebody,
Yeah, I don't even remember.
so somebody. So yeah, and then
Right.
he was also able to get rid of was it Farik Aminu?
We knew. Yeah, he
That was
traded
the
him off.
first thing. Yeah.
But
And so,
here's the thing. Oh, go ahead. No, I was going to say. Remember, I was telling you earlier. This is enough of uh, thinking like a small market. This Chicago is not a small market,
No.
and Garpax ran it like a small market. I mean, they were stingy. They didn't want to spend. They call them Acme. Arturas Coronavirus and
Mark Eversley.
Mark Eversley. They call them Acme. They're acting like the Lakers, big market.
And it's not even about like that the Bulls wouldn't spend money because they've spent money, but they weren't creative in making moves. They didn't used to make trades hardly at all. It was only the draft and free agents and like hoping somebody come. Whereas these guys like, nah, we can ready to make something happen. Like this is different, you know?
But you know what? They're just showing a lot of creativity with these moves and being able to save it underneath the cap and stay. I think they are still somewhat underneath the cap as we speak.
No, they're actually operating as an over the cap team. So basically, that gives them different levels of wiggle room because they operate as if they're over the cap. That's why they were able to do all this signing trades. There's some weird cap stuff, but so now they're under the tax and they're under there's just like a apron that you have when you do all of this stuff, and they're under that still. So they still got room, like if they were to trade Lowry or something like that.
Yeah, because of the sign and trades. Yeah, that kept them. Yeah. Hey, if you could keep an eye on the message board, Adrian, that would be helpful.
I can't see it. I don't know how to do that on my phone.
I got it right now.
If you're using your phone for Zoom,
yeah,
you probably ain't gonna see it. Yeah.
I say Sam's talking about JJ Polk.
Hey, you still getting on her, Sam?
That's a cap guy. Yeah.
He said he couldn't get in.
Okay.
JJ
Polk. He was busy. He was busy, so he'll tune in and out.
Okay.
I think the Bulls used to have a good cap guy, though. I think even before, but obviously they weren't listening to him or something. I don't know.
So Taylor, we don't know who you are. We can't see you. Would you please identify yourself? Hello?
Anyway,
Off the video.
Who?
Hey guys, this is Tim.
Oh, Tim, what's happening, bro?
Oh, okay, Coach. Okay.
What's happening? I'm on my daughter's laptop, and
okay,
I didn't do well in the this is how you do it, Dad. So
okay,
I apologize.
That's all right. We just want to make sure we know who, because we don't want no busters just jumping up on her. So okay, that's cool.
How you doing?
I'm good, guys. How y'all doing?
Good, man. We never got to talk ever, other than online. So
yeah, and we practically family, man. Whether you like it or not.
I know. I do like it. I want to meet you in person, man. All this online stuff, too many misunderstandings.
Yeah, we're gonna have to hook up. We're gonna have to hook up in Chicago sometime soon.
Yeah,
I would like that. That would be nice.
As a matter of fact, my uncle and them were just down here. I don't know if you knew that. They just
I did know it, and that's my guy, man. Both of them, him and your cousin.
Yeah, I never got to see little Jordy play until last couple weeks ago. So
he played with us one season, and he's gotten remarkably better. He's better than Alex at the same age. I tell you that.
You think so? In some ways, yeah. In some ways, you're right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, basketball acumen nowadays versus when you guys were 11, 12. It's dramatically different because of the examples. Yeah, the examples are just different.
Well, speaking of young players, how about our second round pick? Can we talk about our pick there a little bit?
Wait, before we get into the draft,
go ahead,
Tim. What about the moves? What did you think about it? Because I know you were getting into a little bit in the messaging, but I wanted to have a long form conversation if you didn't mind.
Wait, hold on. Before Tim starts, Tim, is there any way for you to get your camera on? Because they can't see you on the Zoom, on the Facebook link.
Oh, they want to see you. They want to see you.
Is that what they say? I can't see the messages. Where are the messages at?
Okay,
you ain't going to see them on here, man.
I'm not going to see them? Okay.
Let me navigate a little bit, guys. Hold on.
Only the people that have a camera on are showing on Facebook. Everybody else, you can't see them.
Yeah, David just turned his off. So
no, I didn't. I'm answering a text message.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Okay,
I have kids bugging me all day about basketball stuff. So
yeah. My problem is I'm kind of pseudo double doing thingies here because my cell phone is blowing up about 2 or 3 things.
Yeah.
Kiefer Sykes is a big deal, and
he got picked up by somebody. Who was it?
Indiana.
Ah.
Yeah, Indiana. The Pacers picked him up, and he's he may make the team. He's overdue. Yeah. But to your question, Dave, at times and in time, it all comes together. Basketball wise, if you follow the tried and true formulas, that doesn't translate well online when I say that to people, and it certainly reads differently depending on who's doing the reading and what they understand basketball is. But as you do some training and some coaching and stuff like that. It's a pretty simple game. It gets complicated and convoluted, and that's the basis of people referring to Team USA can't do anything right because they're running pop shit. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. Nobody's running anything different, and nobody's running anything any simpler than Greg Popovich. It's one of the simplest. If you watch it, they're simply doing high-low. They're simply doing drag screens. And nothing else is happening but the ball going in or not going in. That's the basis of basketball.
Is it a matter of effort to you?
The ball all the time. That's what I think it really is.
A matter of effort, Jay?
Yeah. Is it a matter of effort?
At times. Laurie Markkinen is charged with not putting forth effort, and I don't think it's that he doesn't put forth effort. I think that his effort is probably mal-coached. At times you just have to do what you're told. And
I meant as far as the Olympic team was concerned.
Oh, the Olympic team? Yeah. Well, I was giving Laurie as an example of effort. Okay. And how effort is misunderstood. At the Olympic team, those guys just doing what they want to do. How do you take 10 guys who get the ball with 5 seconds left on the shot clock and tell them they can't do what they want to do with 5 seconds left on the shot clock when it's 5 and only 1 ball? How do you do that?
Yeah. You can see it. You can see it happening in real time too. Like
they're all very, very nice guys. Yeah. Hey, Dave, they're all very nice guys. But let me use some medical terminology here. So Adrian can say, you know what, that was the dumbest thing I ever heard, Tim, but I get it. and I'm half joking, but it's kind of serious. I was reading about Alzheimer's versus dementia, or Alzheimer's associated with dementia, and it's a personal family thing that I'm kind of sort of trying to help somebody work through and go through. And it's a person who, in other times and during time, ordinarily they're pretty bright people, and that doesn't jive with those episodes that they have when they haven't stopped being bright people. They're just episodic, and things happen, and they can't really understand that they're doing that. It's just the people who are observing, or the surroundings got them in such a way. That's what's happening in USA basketball, Adrian. I'm about to blow this, but how do you tell Kevin Durant not to get 29 points and win against? Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And conversely, how do you tell Zach LaVine that you can't shoot more than 7 shots when his inclination is to
shoot?
Because he'll beat whoever's guarding. And I'll straighten that out with you guys later. I'm not an anti-Zach guy. I'm just a pro. What are the other 4 guys doing guy?
So you just like the ball spread around. That's all.
Well, I'd like for the best shot to be taken, and I grew up with the best shot being the closest to the rim that you can get.
Gotcha.
And people misconstrue that as me not liking perimeter ball. three and D and pace and space and all that crap. That's not what it is.
You called it crap. No.
It is crap, man. You got to go to the bucket and score, man.
I know. I agree with you, man. I'm not mad at it because I complain about too many threes, too many teams taking too many threes. They got centers out there shooting threes. I mean, it's like
it's terrible. Our center has to reduce his threes.
Right.
Playing the post, didn't you, Tim?
I'm sorry.
I said you grew up playing the post. That was your position coming up.
I wanted to be a two.
Oh, okay.
And I guarded twos, but once I was done guarding, coach wanted me to guard threes and fours. And in the 70s, that could be pretty confusing until they took us out of zones. We hated playing zone. So once we got our wish and we played man and got our asses kicked by better players, we understood what the coach wanted to do. But certainly, offensively, I wanted to face the basket. I was 6'4" at 16 years old. And I wanted to face the basket. I wanted to shoot and score. There's nothing wrong with that. We got a bunch of guys that are 6'4" in reality. You know, you listen at what you want. But Garrett Temple was 6'4". Satoransky was 6'6". You know, a lot of these guys are 6'4", 6'5". Everybody's the same height, wing wise. And if you can't play in the middle of the floor, you can't do anything. Chris Paul, you know, demonstrated that in no uncertain terms. Booker demonstrated that in no uncertain terms.
Got to be able to shoot from mid-range, yeah.
Yeah, as time went by.
Yeah.
As time went by, it was proven that if you take a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo, I said his name. You take that guy and you restrict his ability to move around and facilitate in the middle of the floor.
Yeah,
you're not taking him away, but you're minimizing your risk and his opportunity.
I always said, make him shoot. I would make LeBron shoot. I would never fall for LeBron's step. You're gonna stand there and shoot it. I'm not falling for any of that stuff.
Yeah, you can shoot that every time.
You can shoot that all day long.
Absolutely.
I agree with you. Let me ask you this, and since you mentioned the dream team, well, the Olympic team, they're not the dream team. Can we compare? Do a little analysis and comparison to the dream team, the original, and how they were able to be successful and why. Now we know we watched, some of the story, and Coach Daly set them up to lose their first game or their first scrimmage or something like that, and that kind of pissed them off. So, they were more apt to listen to him. In your estimate, what do you see from them and what they were able to do versus what's happening now?
You have the type of playmakers on the floor to start a basketball game with that team, and let's never mind who the competition was. They weren't going to be closer than 30 points. Never mind that. What we're talking about is, what is it that you want to do from game plan, tactical and technical, start to finish in the basketball game? If you can manage that, if you can arrive at that before a game, then you're sort of a genius. You're Red Auerbach. You're Red Holzman, you're Phil Jackson, but everybody's not that. So Chuck Daly said, I'm gonna do this the easy way. I'm gonna lead these guys to their own devices and let Magic Johnson do what he does. Why am I gonna bother and waste time telling Larry Bird how to play basketball?
No.
What's so hard about saying to Charles Barkley, here's 1, 2, 3, this is what I want you to do. But in all of this, in all of these facets, what are we going to do to begin a game?
Right.
You're going to go to Patrick Ewing and you start the game.
Right.
And the next possession, you go to Patrick Ewing and you start the game. And by the fourth possession, the game is in and out. It takes 3 or 4 possessions to begin a game and go in and out.
Yep.
In my opinion, in my humble opinion. When you decide to play different than that, and you walk away from DeAndre Ayton in the second quarter and you stay away from him, then you run the risk of not having the same impact in the third quarter that you had earlier, or that you initially decided that you wanted to have. and you can go across the league doing that. If I have Joel Embiid, and I'm not going to Joel Embiid in the paint in the fourth quarter, and then I'm minimizing my ability to win. I'm not sure how much sense that makes.
It does happen because Joel has actually changed my opinion about him this year with his insistence on being a force in the paint this year. I would say too that in my own analysis of the original Dream Team, I know Chuck Daly set them up to lose their first game, and he got their attention. But I think what you said was ring true. You let Magic do what Magic do. Magic, to me, the greatest point guard of all time, brings the ball down floor. He knows how to find the open man. He's not interested in getting 30 points. He's interested in winning the game. So you got Magic running the court. You got Barkley. It's 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes left in the game. The Bulls up 30. Barkley's still out there throwing elbows. I mean, I'm just saying that's effort. To me, that's effort, right? So I don't know.
Absolutely. Oh, make no mistake about effort. Nothing replaces effort. Defense begins with effort, but defense should end with conversion, and that's the difference between 1992 and
today.
For Shiggities and Grins, let's say 2004.
Okay.
In 2004, Melo and LeBron were 19, 20 years old playing in the Olympics. Larry Brown was a 70-year-old man acquiescing. I got all this talent. I've been coaching for 50 years and I've never had talent like that. There's no reason for me to believe that 12 years later, after the Dream Team, that these guys won't replicate and duplicate what happened in 1992. Why should I believe anything other than that with these guys? They fell short. They lost some games, primarily because it was a team that was pretty well constructed. They had role players. When you think about it, they had Carlos Boozer and guys like that, They
didn't have enough shooters, though.
They didn't have enough shooters for the international game. That's true.
Yeah, Stephon Marbury, AI.
Yeah, but they had personnel and talent. And right around that time, the league was starving for personnel and talent. When you consider that what they were looking at was, in finals, was Lakers versus Indiana, Detroit versus Lakers, Detroit winning championships. And like the 90s, they were scoring 95, 96 points. David Stern certainly wanted everybody to watch. And that's an ongoing objective of the NBA. They want you to watch.
Yeah. Hang on 1 second, Tim. We got a little bit of house maintenance to do here. So Sam asks who's speaking. And Adrian did respond. It is Timothy Townsend. He's old, Sam. He don't know how to work his daughter's laptop. That's all it is.
We also got Raymond Snow saying, "What's up, fellas?"
What's up, Raymond?
Hey, Ray. What's going on?
Yeah, go ahead, Tim. I'm sorry, I had to respond to those guys. Go ahead.
Those two guys are guys that I would be interested in hearing, their opinions about what's going on currently with USA basketball, because they're not old, and because they're not old, their perspective might be dramatically different than mine.
I'm just messing with you, man. Don't.
No. What it does is a great segue, and I'm wondering, old school and traditional thoughts about how the game is played versus the reality on how the game is played today with today's 26, 23, 21-year-olds, And that's what that team is. That team is filled with 23, 26, 22-year-olds and Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Who's invariably not going to let them lose and medal out in silver medal. That's not going to happen because of him, because the teams just aren't able. Australia played good, but they're not going to beat them. That's not going to happen.
Somebody's in here. I'm sorry. Who just came on?
I think they're still connected. Oh, hey, what's up, Lloyd?
Yo, what's going on, everybody?
What's going on, Lloyd?
Hey, what's up, Lloyd?
Man, how the family doing?
All good, man.
My people gone, man. All the girls left the room. They mad because they had to hook me up on a laptop because I don't have this capability in my little home office because I don't have a camera attached to my desktop. So
Yeah.
and I got like 15% on my phone, and I'm still doing stuff on my phone. So and I'm trying to find out how to get video. I'm gonna try this one more time. I think these guys just want to look at me and see how it looks.
Lloyd, you good, man? I said you had quarantine or something, huh?
Yeah, man. So what happened was
What had
somebody at my
happened
job.
was,
Yeah.
when it's out like that, you know what's coming, right?
No, G, not for real. No, but for real, one of my coworkers on a 10 p.m. shift came to work and said that he was sick. And so pretty much everybody that works the 2 p.m., the 6 p.m., and the 10 p.m. shift has been calling off due to COVID.
Ooh.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I went to take the test and I tested negative for it.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's good to hear.
That's good. They want to keep you safe, though. There you go, Tim. We see you now, Coach.
Yeah.
You got a Milwaukee best? Is that a Milwaukee best?
I don't see it.
Oh, okay.
My son told me to upgrade.
I got
H2O.
H2O.
Oh, wait a minute, Tim. Hey, Tim, I'm glad you took me up on that bet.
I'm glad I did too, man. Only because, you know, like I said, that's almost like a $25 bet getting a bucket of wings from Harold's. Chicken prices.
Some Harold's. I heard that.
Yeah. That's spelled with a U. HUROLDS. That's Chicago.
Yeah. So Lloyd, Tim was just explaining what his analysis. I asked him his analysis between the current Olympic team and the Dream Team and the discipline and why those guys are struggling. And he was just basically saying primarily because all those guys believe they're the man and they're just out there doing their thing. So
I've seen some of that. I just think that they didn't have no time to get together to figure out what it is that they really, you know what I mean? They're playing off of talent right now. That's it. That's pure the talent. Only thing that's keeping them on the court is pure talent. I don't think they really had between the playoffs and up until now, it wasn't really too much time to really be working on what was the game plan, even how the team is assembled.
Yeah.
True. I agree with you. That's a factor. But
I got a few things.
I'll let you go, Adrian, but I would think that after losing a few games, I'll be like, okay, coach, what you want us to do? I ain't trying to get embarrassed, but that's just me. Go ahead.
I would say the rest of the world is starting to catch up when it comes to basketball. And a lot of these players become different players when they go and play for their home country.
Yeah, they do.
Players as examples.
Yeah. That's something to consider.
Well, there was a guy that went to Maryland back in the day when Steve, I think it was around the Steve Francis era or Juan, what was his last name?
Juan Dixon?
Juan Dixon era.
Juan Dixon was
there
a dog.
He was from Yugoslavia. I remember the name Jessicavicius.
Yeah, his
he
father
was all right.
Her father was an Army guy, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a guy by the name of Jessicavicius. He was pretty decent in college, but when he got to the Olympics, I mean, he caught fire like never before. And I was telling people back in the day, I was like, y'all gonna have to watch him because he can heat up. And now that I look at what's going on, like currently, I just got a question: are these cats really worth the millions that they making if they out here getting? I mean, like I'll ask the question. Man, different game. Man, you can't. No.
The international game is different. It's not the same as far as the physicality. They allow a lot more physical. You see in the first couple games, they're looking for calls. Mm-hmm. Like that's what they're used to. It take a lot of adjustment to get used to the international game because it's different.
Man, I look at it like this. You get paid millions. Okay, if you put the sum total of what they all get paid in their contracts together, some of these countries don't even have a monthly budget of that. I don't want to, at some point you just got to be like, look.
Yugoslavia's gross domestic product is not what the United States team is.
I think what they should do, Tim, I want to know what you think about this. I think we should really start at the youth level being more of the international, so that we can compete on this international platform easier instead of having to adjust. Everybody else plays this way except for us.
We don't have pro leagues in America that start at 15 years old.
Yeah, well, that's true.
So
now we do.
Without defending them, what you're doing is you're describing EYBL and players who have that level of talent, but they don't have that level of coaching. And your coaching acumen and resume doesn't necessarily have to reflect QB Brown or anybody like that in EYBL. You just have to simply convince the shoe companies and the Gatorade companies and the UAs and all those people to sponsor your team, and you go to Peach Jam and all that other stuff. The economics is the reality here. All right, the economics is a high school kid can decide to go to the G League for $500,000 or go to Duke. And I come from a world, South Side Chicago, didn't have anything. If I had the opportunity, and quite frankly, didn't do what I was supposed to do in school and stay eligible enough to play and get noticed the way I could have, I would jump at the opportunity to get $20,000 at that time to go to Yugoslavia and play basketball. Never mind $3,000, $3,600 to go to for 30 days to go to Argentina. These are things that happen, and I had to decide. And I decided not to do it because I wasn't good enough to play basketball at that level. And that was ego talking to me. And I said, well, ego's not going to feed me. It's not going to take care of kids. It's not going to do anything, especially if I'm just going to sit there like Cristiano Felicio.
Hey, you know what? Speaking of Felicio, I came across a documentary that was talking about how a lot of these foreigners had got to the league, like their road travel, like his road travel from Brazil was that whoever his recruiter was had brought him to the United States, but pretty much reneged on all of the promises, such as, what school he was going to go to, and he actually got stuck here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually read that too.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, because I noticed across the league, there were a lot of teams that did this, because Taco Falls had the same recruiter. And he didn't slip through the cracks like Felicio. Like, he pretty much got the promise that the recruiter had promised, but he said majority of the people that got recruited by the same person didn't get the promise. And I was wondering, I kind of had a feeling that there was a little bit more to the story with Felicio, because as we all know he's garbage and he was not worth $30 million. One of the things that I was wondering was that a charity move by Garpax at the time, because it was several NBA front offices that did the same type move.
Well, can I opine on that one? I don't think it was a charity move on Garpax's end. I think they were just being cheap.
Okay.
But it was a blessing for Felicio, because he, we dog him, and rightfully so, because he's really not an NBA player. But he did do a lot of good for his family and people in his community with the money he made. So
shout out to him,
yeah, he got something out of it, and he's got the Lord bless him, and that's just is what it is. Now, Garpax is. I just can't believe. I'm sorry. I can't believe how incompetent and stubbornly incompetent they were. just looking at what I mean, this new regime has changed the culture in over just 1 year. These guys now have expectations. They want to win. Before it was like, do you want to come to Chicago? I don't know if I want to go to Chicago. I mean, players would say that, then they would tell analysis like Stephen A. Smith and other people like, hey man, nobody want to go to Chicago. And they'll tell those guys so they can see it on the air. But they ain't gonna say that. They ain't saying that no more.
It's a franchise that confirms narrative, whether it's true or not. But for the last 30 years, you can take your left hand and 5 fingers and name free agents that were worth their salt.
Right.
I'm talking about all the way back to Krause. And you can go further than Krause and talk about Thorne. These guys, and I know enough about this firsthand to comment on it without naming names. These guys are beholden to the bottom line for Jerry Reinsdorf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's changed in the last 24 months because it's 30 teams in the NBA, and there's simply no possibility of you being able to be competitive if you're not going to spend the money to the salary cap.
It's just a duh.
So that the Felicio thing closed the gap on the minimum salary cap at the time. They weren't getting close enough to the minimum to move along and qualify as a one of 30 team that paid X amount of dollars. And I forgot how much money that was. The basement salary cap.
They said like they took pride in spending. They took pride in spending little money. As little as possible. Yeah.
They made it a point of emphasis.
Yeah.
Derrick Rose saved them. The efficiency and proficiency of Ding and the rah-rah of Joe, and that overshadowed the fact that
and the hustle man of Kirk Heinrich, ain't that right, Lloyd?
Make no mistake about the hustle man now. Everybody bow to the east of Kurt Heinrich, okay?
the hustle man. Oh man.
And by the way, last thing for me on Felicio, he was the second best player on a Brazil Olympic team next to Nene.
Yeah.
At a point. And then he got to the NBA, and I don't know what happened. Might have some pictures. He might have did what Doug Collins did with the Reinsdorf family. I'm just saying.
Well, to me, Felicio was really hungry until he got that contract. Yeah. I think that we probably wouldn't have rolled him.
Felicio.
Huh?
You were the first person liking Felicio. I remember this.
Yeah, and I think that
I was like, nah, this dude, come on. You were like, oh, he all right.
Yeah, I mean, he was all right, but I think that once he got that contract, he got what they call fat, lazy, and he just like.
I think Rondo and them got him paid. Rondo and Wade got him a nice contract because they gave him all them alley-oops.
Yeah, well, he didn't have to work no more. And he remember because after that he kind of fell out of grace with was it Hoiberg or was it I think it was Hoiberg. He kind of fell out of grace with Hoiberg, and it was like, dude, he didn't even look like he was trying. And to my point was,
he looks like a guy who's petulant about playing basketball. It looks like he doesn't want to do it.
Right. It was like, okay, I work hard like that and showed off like that so I can get this bag. Now that I got this bag, it's like I ain't got to work hard no more. That was the thing I was saying. But do I think he's a $30 million guy? No. I never expected Garpax to give him that kind of contract. I just thought
I asked, was it a charity case because he wasn't the only one around the league that got something similar to Absolutely. That. I forgot when I saw this documentary they were talking about. I found it on you know how you watch a Facebook video and then next thing you know 5 different videos play right after it. Yeah. I saw it on one. It just scrolled up on its own, and when I watched it, it was kind of interesting about the backstory about how I forgot the lady's name. She was involved in government in North Carolina, and she got caught within the scam that got Felicio. to the United States. I forgot her name, and they said that she was supposed to hook them up with private schools to go to, and how they over embellished these schools to make it look like they were.
I was gonna say, was it a prep school or something? That's exactly
yeah, she was trying. She recruited him for prep school, and when he got here, the school wasn't even close to it, and then he was stuck here because they found out about his enrollment being his recruit being illegal.
Yeah, that happened to Siakam's brother some years ago, and went to Brown Prep down in Carbondale, and similar things happened. Again, it's kind of tough to get details about that kind of stuff. I understood what was going on. I got a SIU connection that kind of prevents me from talking about that kind of stuff because there are human beings involved and families, and malfeasances on the parts of people who make a living recruiting and doing it dirty. That's what they do. But I'd like to see that actually. That would be interesting to watch. I didn't know much of that. That's
it totally caught me by surprise. I sat there and was, because at first I'm just listening to what's the guy, Kev on Stage. And then after his video played, I saw a couple UFC fighting, like death knockouts and stuff. And then here comes this documentary about players that were recruited from overseas that got caught within the recruitment scam of the preparatory.
I would like to know his backstory in general, like the whole where he's from in Brazil, like somebody should do a story on that.
There is a story out there, Dave. It should be on. You should be able to find it on YouTube.
That would be interesting.
Does he even speak English? Because I haven't seen him in an interview. I mean, not as if you would interview him, but at least say something.
It's actually quite the mystery.
He does. I've met him.
And his best friend on the team was what's his name? Shoot the ball, and he's 7'8". Laurie.
Oh,
Laurie.
That's his best friend on the team.
You said you've met him, Adrian?
Yeah, I met him when I used to work security at Gucci. He'd come in there and purchase stuff. I talked to him just briefly. I mean, he knew, he understood English, spoke it.
And didn't you the one told us he brought his girlfriend in there one time or something?
Yeah, she was buying up the whole store. He looked like a mad puppy or a sad puppy.
Hey, you ain't got that kind of contract, man. Put a leash on her.
She was maybe 5'2", and he's about 7 foot. It was a really mismatched couple.
What is that? I see that a lot. I know, no offense, but I see that a lot. What is that?
I don't know.
These tall dudes with these drawers, but anyway.
You know what? That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, we got on a way off tangent here.
I'm sorry.
Hey man, Felicio is fun like that. Man.
Yeah. What about the draft? What did y'all think about the draft pick? I mean, of course, I'm biased. Lloyd, you probably biased.
When you say draft, you talking about this year or you talking about in general?
IO, man, Morgan Park's finest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen from him as far as his talent, as far as, playing for Illinois. I mean, I'm a Mizzou guy, but I've seen him play against Mizzou. I've seen him play against other teams, and he looks like he knows what he's doing. And he's been in school for 4 years. People don't value that no more, but I think that makes a big difference. Oh, was it 3 years? My bad. But that's a lot of experience, and so it's not like he's champ. Yeah, it's not like he's coming in green thumb, you know what I'm saying? So
I spend a little time around him, and I'm friends of the organization. Mac Irvin Fire and One Way are pretty close. I've seen some guys come and go out of that organization, and one thing I know for sure about IO and players like him when they go through that organization, they're very well regarded. Those guys do a great job of taking care of those kids and their mindsets and their approaches towards basketball. And sometimes they do that at the expense of what the experts call 5-star, 4-star, 3-star players and all that stuff. And some of these guys aren't 5-star players. Some of these guys aren't 4-star players. Some of these guys aren't 3-star players at that age. One of your remarkable comments of the night will be that this guy spent X amount of years in college. We don't see that often. And when we see it, they tend to be second-round picks or late first-round picks.
Right.
Because they draft for projection. They draft for what can happen. They don't draft for what you are. They just don't. That's why the big kid in Illinois had to go back to school. You know, everybody could see, everybody could, eye test tell you that nobody's stopping his big ass. The problem with that is that you got to consider who his competition is. And his competition physically was Garza from Iowa. And that's it. And he comes up here and Wendell Carter Jr. spank him like a baby and hand him candy and tell him to go somewhere and sit on the other side and watch. Men versus boys. That's what Ayo has to do. He has to demonstrate that he's a man.
Yeah.
If he can't do that, then what he'll do is high ceiling turn into Chris Dunn, Elfrid Payton. That's what he'll turn into. There's no knock on him, and there's no knock on the guys. But we insist on having comparisons nowadays, and that's what happens. I hate comparisons, by the way.
I missed that part. I missed that. What you said? What'd you say about him turning to Chris Dunn?
That would be his ceiling if he doesn't do well enough.
Oh, okay.
These people who are anxiously awaiting him doing what he did production-wise in college. That's not going to happen right away.
No. And the beauty of it all, now that Lonzo is on the team, he doesn't have to be the man right away.
Mm-hmm.
He's got time.
Same for Patrick Williams, in my opinion.
What you saying?
He said same for Patrick Williams.
Now that we got DeRozan, we got some players that he could take a back seat a little bit with the expectations and work on his game and continue to grow. He doesn't have to put all the same amount of pressure that he put on last year.
You talking about Pat Williams?
Yes.
I really don't want him to play the 4, unless they're going to play him at a traditional 4. I don't want him to spot up. He doesn't need to be in a corner like PJ Brown.
No, he don't need
That's
to
what's
be.
getting ready to happen, guys. Because that's who Billy Donovan is. I'm sorry. I'm going to do the Debbie Downer thing, Jay.
I'll just be messing with you.
No. I can appreciate that. That's dialogue. That's how you have discussion. I love it.
Yeah.
Again, what we write, sometimes it gets lost in translation. But PJ Tucker stands in the corner and shoots because that's how they can hide him offensively and hope for production simultaneously. That's all you're going to get out of him.
Well, Pat Williams has a nice mid-range. He can, obviously he's physical. He can get to the rack. They don't need to be making him shooting a bunch of threes standing in the corner. I say let him bang. Let him do it. Let him bang. Let him do it.
But I think it will, because DeRozan, Zach, Booster, how many opportunities do you think Pat is going to have to really have the ball?
He's going to have to get it around the rim. He's going to have to get it off the rim.
Probably not a lot, but Jay just said it. What's wrong with not having stuff run through you? What's wrong with getting baskets? Go get the ball and get a bucket.
Yep.
Nothing, but what I am saying is I think he will be standing in the corner. That's basically what I'm saying. I hope not.
I understand.
Go down there and bang. Get that rebound and put it back.
Dennis Rodman, Horace Grant, AC Green, all those guys the offense never ran through them.
That's right.
Absolutely never ran through them.
Dennis Rodman.
The exceptions are Hall of Famers.
Charles Barkley or somebody,
Those guys get the ball run through them because they can score. You're
supposed
to emphasize that.
It's his defense.
I want to say something right quick. Timothy, can you hear me? Okay. You know what's interesting to me is all of my expectations completely changed. So like when we had Hoiberg and Boylan, and I think they just beat all that stuff out of me about building through the draft, all this stuff. So it got to the point where before we hired Billy Donovan, I was not a fan of Billy Donovan. Like, I don't think he's that great of a coach. I never thought that. But compared to Boylen, I was so freaking happy that we had a competent coach at least.
And that's the horrible part about comparisons.
Exactly. And now we're going to start seeing, like, wait a minute, as the team gets better, we're going to start seeing, like, wait, maybe he's not really that guy. We're going to start seeing those flaws.
They played 72 games this year, right?
Yeah.
By game 36, half of 72, it occurred to me, and I might be by myself on an island here. It occurred to me that the rah-rah Billy Donovan honeymoon, you know, let's just wait and see stuff. And, you know, that window started closing really quickly because, you know, it occurred to everybody that it wasn't 8 playoff spots. It was 10 playoff spots.
Yeah.
So you went from thinking that, you know, we have an opportunity to do, and then you got a big guy to come here, and you got rid of the other underperforming guys. I don't know about underachieving with Wendell Carter Jr. He underperformed.
Yeah.
I don't know that they gave that guy enough time. I don't know if they're giving Laurie enough time. I'm being honest about it.
But see, Laurie started off with a bang, though, Coach. He started out with a bang.
His rookie year was outstanding.
Yeah.
That's because he had Jimmy
and then he got caught with the coaching transition. Let's be clear. They couldn't have had a worse 5 years ago. And you guys get on me about Tibbs, but darn it, he makes you play defense.
Yeah, he does.
Or you said, Corey Brewer, you gonna go out there and play defense, or are you gonna sit right here with me? You know, CJ, you're gonna go out there and play defense, or you're gonna watch Derrick Rose play 47 minutes. That's who he was. And if you don't have that culture, I like it that everybody loves the word culture. So let's be consistent and say culture is culture. No matter how much you like tactics, techniques, and system, culture is culture. You know, Miami's getting ready to be the 3rd or 4th ranked team in the East. And they got 2 guys that's over 6'8".
Yeah, I don't know, Coach. We have to see about Miami.
I know. I don't know either, but I'm throwing it out.
Yeah. Well, I would say about Donovan, I'll get out the way. I'll say about Donovan, there are high expectations for him, and hopefully he's as good as some of us think he is. And he's able to adjust and he's able to evolve, because coaches have to evolve just like players have to evolve. You know, hopefully he's learned from his mistakes from Oklahoma City, and he's able to. Now he's being given more tools, and he's going to have to make those tools work together. You know, because those guys are highly motivated. I'm sorry. Huh?
I said they're not done yet either.
Yeah. I was going to say, I thought he did a really good job with OKC in his last year as far as the regular season.
Yes, he did.
When they got in the playoffs, though, there was a lot of stuff. I was just like, what is going on here? You know, especially like they had a chance to beat the Rockets. They had a chance to beat them. And CP3 don't touch the ball. Like, did you draw that up? I was just like baffled. And so when we got him, I was like, what did that do? But compared to Boylen, that was the problem. I'm just so happy not to have a dude who's not even an NBA level guy.
And just to think, Garpax begged AK to keep Jim Boylen.
I know he brought up Wendell. I believe he was ruined the most by Jim Boylen taking over, because it got to the point where he wouldn't even look at the basket.
Yeah, they played him at the 5, and that was horrible.
He wouldn't look at the basket. He wouldn't even look at the basket. He'd be standing right in front of the basket when he look at it.
I'm like, what are they telling this guy? I don't know. I hope these
sometimes,
guys.
Sometimes you can go to Duke, play for a year, come out of there, and lose yourself. You guys ain't gonna like this, but I insist on saying, if Jabari Parker is 100% healthy ever again in his life, he'll get 16 and 9. When he's not healthy, he gets 16 and 9.
Yeah, he can do that. Yeah.
He shouldn't have said what he said last year, 2 years ago, whenever that was, about nobody plays defense, and he can't get any money in a contract because of it. He'll get a 10-day. Somebody will pick him up. Boston might not.
He's from Boston, isn't he?
I don't know how long that contract was. I thought it was a 2-year contract.
It's 2 years. Yeah, I think he's got 1 more year.
And if Boston gives him 15 minutes a game, they'll get dividends. But same thing with Wendell Carter. Same thing with the left-handed kid. I just talked to his father on Facebook. We just argued about it. Left-handed kid.
Oh, Cameron Payne.
No. Big guy.
Oh God, no, he can't be talking about him.
Oh,
Big guy. J-Mac said that. J-Mac said that because I like Cam Payne.
You like campaign? Oh my God, no, I didn't know that.
I like him now. I like him now. He wasn't good.
I wish you did tell me that.
I like Cam Payne away from Boylan. You guys all know. You don't need me to tell you. Boylan and Bulls put together is the worst I've ever seen this franchise.
They gave that guy a 3-year contract.
I've never seen it worse. I agree. Never seen it worse.
But he didn't make $5 million the whole time he was here.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
That was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. And it'll probably be the worst thing I ever seen at the pro level. And he probably can run rings around us. Certainly me.
He probably could. Basketball. Yeah. I agree.
Oh, yeah. But it had nothing to do with basketball. Those guys didn't respect him
from the beginning.
Zach and a couple of those other guys probably mushed his face like Three Stooges or something.
Remember, don't forget Rondo threw a towel in his face.
And Rondo threw a towel at him, but Rondo threw a towel at anybody,
No, I don't know. Rondo was kind of behaving himself until Boylan got under his skin.
Yeah.
What do y'all think about DeMar DeRozan as far as how that's going to work?
I like him. I think he's a mid-range shooter. He's not a 3-point shooter. He likes to post in the mid-range. People act like that's somewhere these guys on ESPN goes, he can't shoot threes. He just shoots mid-range. I'm like, that's a bad thing.
I don't know. He gets to the line a lot too. That's one thing I like.
Yeah, shooting mid-range is a bad thing. Now it's a good thing to me. So, and he plays defense. So
we got good 3-point shooters. We need some inside scoring.
I think he's going to have the ball. I mean, I don't know if that, but I think he should have the ball. I think he should be the one running the screen and roll because he actually did a real good job in San Antonio. I didn't know he could pass like he can. I think he should have the ball. And we're seeing that play off the ball now with Team USA, right? Zach can play off the ball a lot more than he does.
He preferred to actually do that. Yeah.
He can shoot. He can play off the ball.
Zach is the absolute top 5 guy in the league under 5 seconds left in the shot clock.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And if you can appreciate that as a coach, you kind of sort of want to minimize your risk by having him do too much sugar honey iced tea.
Right.
Yeah.
23, 22, 21, 20 in the shot clock. You just that's the basis of the post I put up today. Not to annoy Adrian. It was to emphasize that you want to. Some people begin their offense getting up the floor before 8 seconds and throwing the ball at the top of the circle to their 4. It's offense. Some people want to use one side of the floor or a third of the floor, as we call it. All right, and if you use the right third of that floor, who's going to be open an opportunity for the Chicago Bulls present is Lauri Markkanen to get 3-point shots anytime he wants to. It looks like the triangle because the triangle is the basis and foundation of every offense.
Do you really want Lauri jacking up threes?
No, I don't. I don't. But I don't dislike Lauri. I don't dislike Lauri like some people do.
Right.
We gotta understand this, and then I gotta go tinkle, guys. We gotta understand that this team played under Jim Boylan.
That's right.
We have to understand that. We in no uncertain terms can anybody play, and he'll never get another job. He showed the NBA that I cannot coach men.
I'm a knucklehead
at this level.
Yeah,
playing basketball, I can't do it. I can sit with Pop and rah and be good cop, bad cop with LaMarcus Aldridge all I want to, but I can't play HC. You don't play HC in the NBA. You can't play head coach in the NBA. You can't.
Yeah.
If so happened to Lloyd, what's his name in Atlanta, you can't play head coach. You have to be the head coach.
Yeah, well, Laurie has regressed, but I would say if he signed his tenure, I mean, if no other team comes hunting and he signed his 1-year tenure, that's not the worst thing in the world.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not. But we still need defense. I think that's my biggest thing right now. Is I'll take another big man defender.
yeah. Well, you need you want another big man, because don't forget, you guys forget that AK brought the boy from overseas on down here. So
That boy ain't gonna be able to do nothing this year.
I don't know. He might be able to. I mean, play some defense, do something. He can shoot too.
Yeah,
He might be able to hit those open
this
threes.
year. I'll be in the weight room.
With the way that this team is now constructed, it's kind of hard for me to see where Laurie would, be willing to settle to expand his game in other areas. Reason being is because I believe this year we're going to see a lot more up and down the court.
Yeah.
You got to expect that, because you got Lonzo at the point, you got Zach filling one side, DeRozan filling one side. So that means that Laurie, he may not be able to take all those threes, or you still got Vooch who's going to shoot threes too. So from what I would like to see is that he would man up, get in the hole and get gritty, because somebody has to accept that role.
Well, you know what, Lloyd?
And here's the thing too. He cannot start with Vooch. He can't. So he's got to accept that bench role coming off the bench. And with all the money that he was asking for, that he's clearly not going to get, what is he going to accept? And what will he do? Will he accept that role that you're just talking about, Lloyd? Will he be a bulldog in the post? I don't know.
I don't think he will.
Well, you know what, Lloyd? If no other team come knocking, and he ends up having to accept that 1-year tenure, I think if he's a man, as Coach would probably say, if he's a man, that should light a fire under him. And he should have something to prove, just like Jimmy had something to prove, just like Bobby Portis had something to prove. He should be able to bet on himself and say, okay, nobody's gonna come and ask the Bulls for me, then I'll sign this 1-year deal. I'm gonna bet on myself.
That's interesting, and here's why. And I'm not one of those people that says that's interesting in that way that I don't agree with that.
Condescending, yeah.
That's interesting because what it does, Jay, is it makes you consider, and you'll hear me say that word a lot. I consider is a big deal. It makes you consider the money aspect of all this.
Mm-hmm.
Zach makes $19 million on paper.
Mm-hmm.
DeRozan's coming in, that's 26, 27. I don't know what that is. And he's the top. He's the top guy until such time as they extend Zach or whatever they're gonna do. In the meantime, DeRozan's 27, and DeRozan's and Zach's in Japan, getting his information like we are. And he's already said, I guess, that he wants some respect. I don't believe he said it in that context.
No,
but that's the context that everybody wants us to have.
Yeah.
And I think is irrational, and I think is disrespectful.
Yeah.
I think that's a disrespect to Zach, that the narrative is going to be, well, now you're not being treated well, and they just got a guy in a sign and trade or whatever that is that they did. And he's going to make more money than you until such time as we do something about it.
Yeah.
And at the risk of blowing through money and not having money to do something else, or to sign and trade with a Laurie or any of that other stuff. It's the same thing I said to somebody about Bobby Portis not getting $10 million. That's stupid. It's the same thing with Derrick Rose not getting. It's the same thing with these other guys who are willing to go to LA and play for veteran contracts. It's the same thing. Where is this money coming from, and where is it going? is now the biggest deal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's a problem for me because, and I might have written this before, and then I'm gonna leave that topic alone. The worst thing that ever happened to pro sports is divulging salaries.
Yeah, yeah.
How much did Garpax make?
Who knows?
How much did Jerry West make?
Who knows?
No.
And back in and to your point, Coach, back in the day, back in the 90s, the Bulls, because Michael Jordan and the Bulls won 3 chips, who came running over here to us? John Sally, James Edwards, Chief.
Yeah.
Anybody else that could get in here came running over here, and who knows how much they made? Probably got $2 million for all we know. We don't know how much they got.
That's correct.
Even the greatest one of the greatest power forwards ever, Dennis Rodman, wasn't making a lot of money.
He wasn't making a lot of money. No.
Yeah, but we didn't. We only reason we know about his salary because I think he told us.
Yeah,
So-
Scottie Pippen's odyssey steered us into venturing into salary issues. And when that happened, when he signed the contract that allegedly Lionsdorf told him not to do it, I call him Lionsdorf, guys.
Lion.
Yeah, he's Lionsdorf, man.
I told him not to do it. Yeah, right. Okay.
The coaches' salaries come up, and it's clear that coaches don't make as much as
Players.
second and third so-called option players, level players. So that I wish we didn't know their salaries. I don't care that Curry makes $45 million.
No, shoot, he makes like 55 million.
Yeah, so
It's crazy money.
he's hitting jump shots at a higher clip and from further away than most people, and they can't win unless they got enough players.
I don't care either.
I know you don't. Nobody cares.
I don't care. It's just fascinating me when I mean, it's eye popping. $55 million. Like, I mean, but at the end of the day, I don't care. I ain't getting none of it.
I mean, people just
But then again, you gotta think about what that 55 million is, what is actually paying for too, because it's paying for them championships that he brought.
Oh, make no mistake about it. They were able to build a brand new stadium. They got a state-of-the-art stadium because they won championships. There's no denying that. But when they don't win, you still got to pay them. You know,
the value of the franchise went up so much ever since then too.
Well, there's a difference. There's a difference between the value of something and how much something is worth and how much you pay for it. And if they tried to sell that franchise right now, it'd take them a little time to sell it.
Right. So to your point, Coach, I don't care how much these players cost. I mean, that's Ryan's problem. I just want the Bulls to get the best players that's available that they can get. And that I've always contended that. I've always been that way, you know. But Garpax wasn't spending no money.
So is DeRozan the default number 2 or number 3 guy because Zach is there?
I think he'll do that anyway, just because it's a new team.
Let me say one thing about Zach and the disrespect thing you brought up. I don't think people I think what you're saying, the press put it out there the wrong way. I think that what Zach was talking about, and I could be wrong, but what I really think he was talking about was how Garpax did him, letting Sacramento set his price and all that dumb stuff. Yeah, I think he felt that was disrespectful. I think that's what he's talking about. So if the Bulls don't, sit back and let somebody else offer him money first, they just come out and say, "Hey, we want to send you, we want to max you out. Here's a max contract. You gonna sign it or no?"
So is there a difference between him not getting an extension right off the top? Give me my extension because I deserve it, and Damian Lillard getting his without question, or name a guy who gets an extension without question. I don't know. I don't know if he's respected enough based on projected team production. He's a prisoner of this team, guys.
But should he get an extension now? I mean, should he even want one now?
No,
because he can make more money next year.
Well, I think he indicated that he would like one. I don't know if I don't have the quote in front of me, but I think he indicated that he wants an extension.
Yeah, right. So to me, it's in not only his best interest, but it's in the team's best interest to extend him next year.
I heard him. I heard him in an interview. He said that whether it's now or whether it's next year, it's not a thing. If they use the money to improve the team, like he's cool with that. Basically.
Right. So somebody is embellishing that whole respect thing. That's what I was getting at.
I understand, and I can buy that. Except Leinsdorf is the owner of the team. Oh, he's the managing partner, and he has people to pay out dividends every Christmas. I think he owns 15%. So he's not the guy at the Clippers. He's not the guy at Portland. He's not the guy in LA or the gal in LA.
That's true.
You know, he's different. And they've worked under those very, very strident and stringent guidelines financially for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
That's why 1998 happened after they won that 6th championship. Because he said, there's no way in the world I'm going to pay all these dues. I'm not paying Michael Jordan $30 million again. You know, they didn't realize that level of profit that they do now. The TV package wasn't the same.
Well,
everybody's paid right now because there's a TV package, not because of people swinging through those turnstiles. Ain't got nothing to do with sponsorships. It's got to do with TV packages.
TV money. Yep.
Well, he could afford to pay MJ. I mean, he was just greedy.
Do it today. Yeah.
Yeah. So Adrian suggested that we cap the signings, the free agency. I'm assuming with the Bulls first, obviously. Forget the Lakers. They signed it all. They signed in the AARP club. So
we got Lonzo Ball.
What you say? The Lakers got a bunch of reverse mortgages.
That's what they are. That's exactly what they are.
They got back and knee pain. That's what they got.
Man, that whole team is a reverse mortgage commercial. Who is that who does that? By the way?
Do you see them beating a fully healthy Brooklyn Nets team?
I don't see anybody beating a fully healthy Brooklyn Nets.
So I have a friend who coaches, and he said to me, you might want to consider when you look at 10 old men that you only play 5 at a time, and when 5 of those old men get tired, put the other 5 old men out there and you don't miss a beat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't have a problem with Carmelo Anthony playing 17 minutes a game and getting 10 and 5. You know,
I have a problem with these young guys like Malik Monk taking the minimum. I have a problem with that.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah,
he can do what he wants, but I don't like that.
Yeah, but weird. I think that's back end consideration, and it wouldn't surprise me if Rand Paul is this guy. Rand Paul and LeBron James run the NBA, and Chris Paul, they run the NBA.
It's AJ.
For better or for worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I'll bet you another bucket of chicken that it'll come out. It'll come out that there are 3 battling agencies, and I forgot the other 2, but Rand Paul is
Rich Paul.
No, Rand Paul is the agency that LeBron James's agency.
It's Rich Paul, isn't it?
No, Chris Paul is a basketball.
No, Rich Paul.
Rich Paul, Rand Paul, Rich Paul. I'm thinking of
Rand Paul is that clown in the Senate, the U.S. Senate.
I got Kentucky on my mind, I guess. Yeah, Rich Paul.
Okay.
Is Rich Paul Lonzo's agent?
Yes, he is. These guys are able to move guys where they want to move guys.
Yeah, that's true.
And real quick, guys, 15 seconds. Lonzo was in a bad spot in his rookie year, being the 2nd pick overall, over there with those clowns, LeBron included, doing what they did. And everybody got hurt and they didn't make the playoffs. And they wanted to blame him for not being the ball player that they thought he should have been in the 2nd pick of the draft. And he goes in New Orleans, and it's a bunch of clowns there. And then they draft this incredible physical specimen. Half of the LA Lakers are over there now, from that time. You know, Bi and all those other guys, and Josh Hart. They got this crew of young players.
Yep.
I want y'all to know that when you all read my stuff, I am frightened at the possibility that we look at these young, aspiring, upcoming players, and it's a done deal.
Right.
Because these teams will get rid of these players on no uncertain terms. They're buying, they bought Kemba Walker out, and they got to still pay him $70 million. OKC. They have to pay him $70 million.
Ew.
$70 million. They owed him 87, they got to pay him 70. That's the buyout? You mean to tell me that you got to spend 77% of the money that you were going to give him, but not spend the time doing it? He didn't have to play out his years?
Whatever they negotiated is a buyout price.
That's crazy. That's insane.
It's still bad though, yeah.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's absolutely abysmal. That's why we don't need to know about money, because I just veered us all off in the last 2 minutes talking about some damn money that don't belong to me. It's the silliest thing I've ever seen in my life. Why can't we just talk about basketball? Why can't we talk about Byron Scott has no chance against Michael Jordan in the 1991 finals, and then he gets hurt? Oh, now y'all in real trouble. Or Scottie Pippen guarded Magic Johnson for 5 quarters in the finals, but he's credited for stopping Magic Johnson. Get all that.
Stop him. Yeah, he's
Get out
slowing
of here
down.
with that.
That's all.
Just stop that. It's crazy.
So you started with Lonzo. What about DeMar, Coach?
I love DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan does everything you want in an Adrian Dantley way, in a Mark Aguirre way, in a Kelly Tripuccio way. And I'm sorry for dating myself and going back to those guys, but that's how you play basketball in the 80s and 90s. You started inside out, and you had a killer in the middle of the floor, like Chris Paul, like Booker, to be contemporary. Okay, right. You watch little bitty thin boy in Atlanta go in the middle of the floor in the paint and destroy people until he got hurt. They should have won that. And if he didn't get hurt, Milwaukee would have been sitting at home watching like everybody.
Are you talking about Trae Young?
Trae Young.
Yeah.
Trae Young.
Yeah, he's right.
In the middle of the floor is where Luka Doncic goes if he's not shooting crazy off balance 29% 3-pointers. Okay, when he hits them, it looks crazy, but otherwise he's a 29% shooter. He goes in the middle of the floor, gives you body, you fall off of him, and he gets everything he wants, passing or shooting, I'm playmaking. Throw the ball in the corner to a guy who can't play, and Powell hits a 3. I mean, if you can't go in the middle of the floor and play, make, operate, and finish, you can't play basketball and win in the NBA, unless y'all got an exception for it.
Not in the playoffs.
Draymond Green did that in the middle of the floor when they were winning. All right, and he can't shoot a Taurus G2 with both hands on it. You know, that's what DeMar DeRozan is, guys. That's what he brings to the Bulls. That sets Zach free. Now, I don't know what it does for Vucevic, because Vucevic has to play elbow basketball. They got to go inside out. Now they can go high-low. But what do you do in today's NBA with a 7-foot guy who wants to shoot threes? Who's an alleged power forward? Do you really want to hurt Pat Williams by putting him at the 4? But he's not a 4. He wasn't a 4 in college. He wasn't a 4 in high school.
He wasn't
a 4 in the pros.
He wasn't 4 in college. He didn't play the 4 in college.
No,
he played the 3.
Florida has 5 wings every year that they throw out there on the floor. It's college basketball, and they're some of the best kids in the world. They get drafted, and they're great. And then they get to the pros, and you see what you see, and you get what you get. But he's certainly a mid-range in the paint guy who dribbles from right to left, pulls up, and hits 12-footers. You know, off the glass, in fadeaways. He did all that. His highlight picture is nothing but stuff foul line down, mid-range, mid-post in. That's what he does. Siminovic, guys, Siminovic. That kid is going to play, and he's going to be Jesus Christ, I forgot his name just that fast. And he was
Jokic.
like the love of my life from Argentina. Say his name. Say his name, David.
Scola. Luis
Play for
Scola?
the Bulls.
Oh,
Play for the
Oh.
Bulls.
Nocioni?
Yes, that's who Saminovich is going to be.
What?
Forget that
Oh.
YouTube crap that y'all watch on there, man. Don't forget that.
That skinny dude?
This kid is getting ready to. He's getting ready to be gangbusters out there.
I hope
And
you're right.
he's our new hustle player. That's
Good.
another bucket of chicken if you want it.
I hope you're right.
I hope you're right, because we need that. Especially
We don't
with
have
high
that.
school.
We don't have that. We
No.
haven't had that since Wendell Carter, and Wendell Carter was misplayed as a 5. He should have been playing a 4. Wendell Carter and that other kid that we had that everybody liked us in Washington now. What's his name?
Oh, you're
Yeah.
talking about Gafford? Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, Wendell Carter.
I stood
was
next to him, by the
softer
way,
than
guys. He's
Mouse
6'8".
Cotton.
Who, Gafford is 6'8"?
Yeah, he's 6'8". I thought he was a little taller.
He can get up though.
No, he leaves his feet.
Yeah.
He's like that Baxter kid.
He had height.
Yeah, but you know who else has a motor like Gafford that they signed? I think they got him. They got a 10 summer league contract or something for him, or summer camp contract. Who is that kid that?
Troy Baxter.
No, yeah, I think that might be him. I think that might be him.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was doing that against MEAC guys who was watching him do it and was scared to jump against him. So
Yeah.
Exactly what I said.
I got to see Dave. I got to see him this week or next week in the summer league.
I want to see him in summer league because if he can
Yeah,
do
I
that,
got to see him.
if he can do that,
I'm not going to take anything away from him. He can do it athletically.
yeah.
Let's see it, though.
I don't know if that's talent or just athleticism. And
Well,
there's a difference.
my point is, if he can do that at this level, that's great. He because that brings another defensive presence, another rim protector. You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
mad that they did not play Dotson and give him a real chance. I'm still
No,
mad.
they
about
didn't.
it.
Yeah.
Dave, have you seen Dotson
Yeah, I
away
did.
from everything else?
Huh?
Did you see Dotson away from everything else? I mean, in the South suburbs, have you watched him play in person?
No, never.
If he gets a chance, he can get Etwan Moore type stuff.
Mhm. I believe that.
But the league also has another thing that we never talk about, and that's relationships.
Mm.
If I want you to work with me, I'm going to go to my boss and say, this guy, David Johnson, is a heck of a worker.
Mhm.
He can break down film, and he can train, and he can, run sessions and stuff like that. And he's not afraid to pick these towels up, and he can do it.
Right.
So it's a get
My boss,
along
on the other
game.
hand, might have a guy already in mind.
It's the get along game, as Kwame Brown call it.
It's to get along gang. Kwame Brown's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. And many of us don't have jobs because we don't kiss ass.
You got that right.
I'm too old for it. I'm 60 years old. I ain't got time. Not for jobs that's going to pay stipends and not enough money. I'm nobody's NBA coach, but I'm not going to take a junior college possibility or NAIA or even a Division I job that can't pay my mortgage and keep my wife from saying I'll make more money. So I
Hey, no misogynist.
no. Trust me, that's a compliment.
I'm just messing with you, man.
My wife does well, but
We
you
old
have
school.
one more guy that we
Yeah.
need to think about, and that's what's that kid's name?
Tony Bradley that they just signed.
No, I think he's okay. He'll be okay. He will do better than Cornette and all those other guys that couldn't do anything. He kicked the hell out of us a couple of games last year.
Horrible, man.
Carter up last year.
Huh?
I said he dragged Wendell Carter last
It
year.
was a terrible thing. But that boy had about 28, 30 points in my game, didn't he?
And they didn't have Embiid. That's a game that we should have won. That was one of the games I was just through with the Bulls.
Yeah, that was just, that's that effort that Jay talks about.
Yeah.
You underline
talking about
effort.
Caruso? Is that Caruso? We didn't talk about him.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Caruso.
We
Forgot
didn't
all
talk
about him.
about Caruso because I was thinking draft, guys. I'm
You don't
sorry.
like Caruso.
That's all right.
I don't know that Caruso. You ever seen a tough guy, man, hanging around a group of guys, man? And he's the loudest son of a gun in the damn group.
Exactly. I know exactly.
And then everybody break out to go to the crib, man. And all right, I get back, man. All right, and all the ripple is gone, and nobody else is drinking. What did you call it? OD or some kind of beer? Old Milwaukee. All the beer is gone. All the tough is gone, and you're just walking down 47th in Indiana all by yourself, trying to get to the crib. And don't nobody go to the crib. And 47th Indiana always got people on the street, and they see your loudmouth ass coming. I think that's who Caruso is, guys. Sorry for the analogy and euphemisms I'm using. I'm sorry, but that's who Caruso is to me, man. I could get 6 points, man, at 60 playing with LeBron and AD. I can get 3 possessions, but I'll go to the foul line 5 times. I'm telling you.
Well, I think his niche, right? His niche is
he probably is.
His niche is on being able to play good defense.
Well, I hear that and I read that and I watch the games, and after that was said on the party chat, I looked at some film and some video and some games I still got locked in on this modem here on Xfinity, and it showed me that they switch everything because they're big and they're long, and he is the single guy that attempted to go over screens. KCP go under screens. All right, and that other guy, Wes Matthews, goes under screens.
Right.
And what Caruso was instructed to do is go over screens, be disruptive, and at times and sometimes the ball got loose. Somebody got that loose ball. He peeled out, cherry picked, and got a couple of dunks here and there and stuff like that. I am not minimizing him for the obvious reasons any more than I tell people. I don't compare Laurie to Dirk and or because he's white and tall and 7 feet or any of that stuff. That's why I hate comparisons. What I am telling you is that until he and I'm amending my statement a little bit here. I don't hate him. I don't even dislike him. I need to see him do stuff on the second team in a Bulls uniform and not screw around.
Okay. Without AD and LeBron behind him, in other words.
Hey, man, 47 Indiana, bro. 47 Indiana.
Curtis says you talk totally different than how you write.
He does. No, seriously.
It's the truth.
No, that's exactly why I wanted him on here. For real.
Well, you had an opportunity. Most people do one thing better than the other thing. Some people write better than they talk. Some people talk much better than they write, and some people are really quiet and get their point across, like Adrian. And congratulations, bro, on that job.
Yes, sir.
I saw one of my Facebook memories, guys, and on this day last year, I said something very, very nice about Adrian and another accomplishment out of many accomplishments that he gets. And I'm proud and pleased, man. He gave me a nice whooping and a lesson one day about COVID. I can go in on him now based on what we're going through, but I won't.
I remember
COVID,
that conversation.
COVID is COVID. I'm not even variances and variants and deltas and Southwest.
It's all bad. It's all bad no matter what.
It's all bad no matter what you do, man. Just you all be safe out there and stuff.
Right. Well, I commend Adrian for being for fighting for his son. Remember that
Absolutely.
whole
Absolutely.
And then putting himself through school and doing the things he's doing. So I don't know how old you are, but to me, you're still a young man, and you're fighting a good fight, man. I appreciate it.
Great example.
Yeah.
Great example. I hope young people see you, man. I hope they see you doing it.
Yeah.
Well, I want to commend everybody in the group for one thing. We have totally matured into nice, fine gentlemen compared to when the Bulls was in the playoffs when D Rose first.
No, we were maniacs.
I was reading some of the old. One day I went through some of the old posts, and Dave got on me for making a comment on the old post and bringing it back up.
Oh God, I hate that.
So I was
Those
looking at some of the. I was looking at the receipts and I was like, "Whoa, we was wow!"
We were
Like,
going at it, yeah.
like,
Y'all, I don't hate people bringing up receipts. I just hate bringing up an old actual post.
Come on, from 8 years,
got it,
8
and bring
years
up your
ago.
receipt.
Yeah, don't bring up one from 8 years ago, huh?
Yeah,
Well, see,
'cause I'm
Dave
getting
has a little
notifications on it.
additional background on me. I'm in another group that is way out the box. And
Oh, I know that. Yeah.
you know, it's
That group is
and
crazy.
his uncle and his cousin are in it, and they just several people don't like me for what they read online. For the most part, they haven't even seen me like we are doing here.
Right.
One particular guy is a family friend, and he's small detail. He's a friend of my aunt, who is the sister of my natural father, that I didn't meet until I was 25 years old.
Oh, wow.
And we see each other whenever we see each other, maybe a handful of 12 times since 25. I'm 60, I guess that's 35 years. And it's okay. Wants to do everything he can to humiliate me in any way he can.
Wow.
And he's 67 years old doing this. And it's too bad for him. It's too bad for him, but you know, he types in all caps. And,
I didn't want to
as bad as that is, he makes it clear that I type in all caps because I'm me. He does all this stuff for one reason and one reason only, that is to engender and endear people to him. And I tried to call him off one day and say, hey man, just stop. Let's go have a beer or food, or you know, do breakfast or something like that.
Right.
No, you lied. You said you were going to get everybody a one-way T-shirt, and people are still waiting for their one-way T-shirts. Well, he was the first one to get a one-way T-shirt.
Wait a minute,
so I'm not altogether sure.
The group one way from back in the 80s?
No.
They inspired us, man. We had a basketball team, and we played from the sponsorship of a lounge on 70th and Stony Island, who bought our uniforms and paid for our opportunities to play in Park District events. And Al Hudson came there one day, and Alicia Myers came there one day, and they just to sit down and have a drink and stuff like that because they heard about us. And this is before social media, so it was just word of mouth and people talking about one-way basketball and stuff like that. So yeah, yeah. So I decided.
Now, you know what?
I'm just segueing back to what we were discussing. No, but we got Lonzo, DeMar. We talked about Lauri, and all I'm gonna say is, if I'm believing they're still trying to work out a sign and trade for Lauri. But like I said, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if he had to sign his 1-year tenure. There should be some motivation there, you know, because nobody came knocking for him. You got the guards. We still got those boys that they I need to pull up. I don't know if somebody can pull up the. Yeah, Troy Brown Jr., right?
Troy Brown.
He's a good.
Still got him.
Yeah.
We still got Javonte Green.
Bring back Javonte Green. He's a restricted free agent. We could bring him back.
Now one thing I want to backtrack about DeRozan that I think we kind of overlooked this aspect of him. Do you know when he got traded from Toronto, right before Kawhi came in and they won that championship right after the trade? I have to commend DeRozan because that had to hurt his feelings.
Yeah.
I know I would be hurt.
Yeah.
They let me go, and then you bring this cat in, and then all of a sudden it's a championship. And I've been there working, trying to get to this point. And one thing I think what he's going to do this year, you're going to kind of see a reinvented DeRozan. I think it's going to be more up and down the court, but you're going to see a very attack the rim DeRozan. I don't think it's going to be
determined.
I don't think it's going to be this laid back in San Antonio trying to figure out the system. with him. That's one thing that I like about this pick. I just want to commend him because anybody else underneath that type of scrutiny could have caved in. They could have caved their career.
And you know what, Lloyd? And who are all these people crying over draft picks? Do you see what we've done with draft picks over the last 20 years?
I don't care about them no more.
Who cares about the draft picks, man? I mean, a draft pick in the year 2025 for real. That's like saying, man, we traded a draft pick away for the year 2031. And
As long as they protect it, I don't care. I don't care no more.
I mean, it's like you don't know what kind of player you're gonna end up with drafting.
Man, we need to get Boogie. We need to get somebody
I like that.
Force.
Yeah.
That's gonna say, we have to have one person. Who's the person on our team that we could say is the tough guy?
Well, it used to be Tice, but it could be Boogie.
Caruso got Tice money, man. That's another problem for me. That's that same $9 million for 4 years, man. I ain't like that.
Because I feel like we don't. I think that's the part of the identity that we're missing. We need somebody that's gonna set the tone. Yeah. And we haven't had a person that's gonna lay you on your back on the ground or on the floor with a hard foul. One that's within the rules, but it's hard enough to let you know that
I don't know if you
not
want
gonna be
Boogie.
easy to get here.
I don't know if you
I
want
like
Boogie.
we need some of that though.
Yeah, I'm talking about in the rules. I said it within the rules. You don't know if you want Boogie then, do you?
How many guys we got? 9, right? Right
We
now?
only got 9 right now.
People need to get knocked down sometimes.
Yeah.
I watched Michael Jordan get knocked down a lot.
So a lot of times, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't care about all these guys.
And they got back up. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd be honest with you. I'm with Lloyd. I'd take Boogie if he wants to come here. I mean, he can bring some of that toughness with him. As long as he don't come here and he got a reputation of being crazy, but if he can come here and do what they ask and what they need him to do, I don't have a problem with that at all. That'd be great.
Who's left? Who's left though? Who's left on the board that we can get that could fill that kind of a role?
We almost have to find a way to get a guy for Laurie's contract now.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah,
right.
They should do that. Yeah,
yeah.
That's why I don't want to bring him back.
You got to get a guy with Laurie's contract.
But they have been
bring Laurie back. He's not going to play well.
They have been talking to Minnesota, my understanding, and I don't know who they can get from Minnesota. Huh?
I would love.
Oh, you ain't getting Towns.
They don't even need
that ain't gonna happen.
Big time guy. This is a backup we're talking about. Just get a backup and another wing guy. If they can use Laurie to get that, then that's good.
That's all. Yeah, and that will close out the trading week and be like, this dude has done more than GarPax's done in 20 years.
They just get minimum guys.
Yeah. I'm trying to tell y'all, Paxson hasn't done anything via trade and draft since they got that draft with no Sione. With no Sione.
Oh,
Rose was that was the luck of the draw. We got to be real. Yeah, that was
same thing
we
with
were lucky.
Same thing with Jay Williams. What else were you going to do? Same thing with the Twin Towers, man. Curry and Chandler were there. You got to do that. Crawford was there. You got to do that.
You got
Marcus Spicer, you didn't have to do that. Brand, you had to do that. Listen to those names, man.
Because he brought in that trade,
those names, bro.
That in that draft he had no Sione, Duhan, Joakim Noah, and it was one more.
I got love for Duhan, by the way.
It was one more person, but what he gave away was Eddie Curry.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Ed was sick. There was no choice. They got rid of him because he was sick, and they got over on the knee.
I was watching.
That was the only genius move that Paxson had credible.
Yeah, and it was dirty, but that was the Knicks' fault at that point.
I was watching one of those Bulls YouTubers, and they had a list of all the draft picks, the GarPax draft picks. Man, it was horrible.
It's terrible.
These last 5 years, they have definitely been bad with that. Yeah.
I mean,
not only draft, then they don't have good coaching for them, even when they do draft them. Like, what are y'all doing, man?
And they don't make any trades, and then they come back and say we like our. And then when they come back in the press conference and say we like our guys.
All right, now up until this off season's worth of moves that we made, The one thing I did like about the group was Curtis Buster Brown came in with all kind of trade scenarios, hopeful draft picks. I mean, like it really kept me looking.
Curtis
to see what was
everybody, man.
He's our head scout.
Everybody.
He's just one of the best players for the Bulls, man. He's just like us.
He loves it. He loves it.
And he works off some outstanding enthusiasm and an older dude, you know. I'm sorry. I'm holding them accountable, man, because they got the jobs and I don't. So
Curtis, he likes a lot of players. And David always ask him, "You want him to sign them too?"
I'm like, Curtis, who don't you like, man? You like every
you don't want to sign.
Dave's staying on him. But see, only Curtis and I can handle Dave like that, man. Otherwise, Dave sounds like he's reprimanding you with like,
it does. I hate that
like
image.
all black on with a whip. You dig?
I hate that image because I'm not like
he can make you feel bad, and so does Adrian. But I understand where these guys are coming from a, hey man, look what we've been doing, man, with Boylan and that clown that's in Nebraska now coaching. That he was a clown, you know. As much as I liked him, it was more about Hoiberg.
Yeah.
He was a clown.
That was bad. That was so bad.
So to answer, because Adrian asked me a question on the page, and I said that I wasn't against the Bulls signing Lonzo. I just didn't think that they should overpay for Lonzo. But you guys convinced me that $20 million is the going rate for today. So I was like, well,
market. It's the market in year 5.
That's the market.
That's the market in year 5.
Yeah,
it's debilitating, you know, to the psyche when you look at that, and then you think of other players who, like DeMar DeRozan, his market at 31 years old is 3 years.
Well, I had to think about it because I forgot that our boy that we finally ended up trading, he was making 28 a year.
Otto Porter.
Otto, yeah.
Yeah, he just
terrible.
That was
sometimes you just gotta do what your grandmama said. If you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say it.
But see, that was a guard pack move, and they did so much. Like they drafted Barristow. I'm sorry, there had to been something better left over in that draft that we could have tripped over the curb and found by accident than Barristow. I think that was one of the worst.
Well, then they turned him into Dinwiddie, which was brilliant, and then they cut Dinwiddie. So
right, and for a group for a couple of guys who claim to value draft picks so much and don't want to spend money, then they treat the draft picks like trash. They don't really do their homework like they should, or they'll come up with these. Oh, well, we like this guy. Like, whoa, who likes that guy? But you guys.
You know what, man? I feel like they always thought that they were smarter than everybody, not knowing that they were not.
I know nobody's thinking about this. Let's draft this dude.
Before we go, y'all really think this Simonovic don't play this year? I mean, y'all think he's really gonna...
I think he's going to get an easy 15 minutes. They got to replace Tice, guys. They have to replace Tice.
He's going to get to play, yeah.
You know, if you don't replace Tice, it's almost like not replacing. Who can I think of that if you don't replace? See, the Knicks just re-signed Alec Burke. If you watch any Knicks basketball, you were pleased with watching Derrick Rose, and you thought that was great that Randall did, but they didn't move without Alec Burke.
Yeah,
you have to replace those guys. You have to replace Saric for Phoenix. If you can't replace him,
that's big, yeah.
Then you can't play. You don't have enough. Ayton was tired, and then he started getting dogged, and then he started getting embarrassed. And that's psychological.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's mental health, man. Mental health in athletes is real, and is very tender and very sensitive. And the line of demarcation is, you know, winning. That's the line of demarcation. It's a make in this league, and you got to win. If you don't win, and 30 teams ain't gonna win.
And look at the Bucks, Tim. They were this close to probably Budenholzer getting fired. This close.
He was fired in the second round.
Yeah.
And Trey got hurt.
Yeah.
Was it second round or third round? Well, anyway, Trey got hurt, and that saved him. Yeah, that saved them. You know, and whoever it is, the GM there, they can beat their chest and talk about PJ Brown all they want to. They wouldn't even give that man money to stay. But now they got to learn how to play without PJ Brown.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
You know, speaking of the Knicks and speaking of Derrick Rose, there's no bigger D Rose fan than group member David Walker, man. He loves him some. Shout out to David Walker, man. He loves him some D Rose, man. He want to sign.
I hope he's reading along with us.
He want to sign D Rose.
Chris Dorsey. He don't really comment, but Chris Dorsey, boy, he loves D Rose. He actually watched the Pistons because D Rose is on there. Like,
You watch Pistons basketball? Ooh.
Oh yeah.
He's a diehard Rose fan.
Yes, he did.
He's a
One year,
diehard
some of my
Rose fan.
nephews and some players can come over here and watch him play. I got that NBA League Pass when it was dumb to get it, and actually pay $169 for it.
Right.
Just so everybody can go in the basement and watch the game. And then they got to go, and then I have to clean up behind him. But he's one of those people, along with Pat Beverly and along with Dotson. You know, these people I know personally, and I hold them close to my heart for that reason. I've worked out with them. I've worked them out. I've done some other things.
I'm sure you know Jabari too, don't you?
Me and Jabari's father are close.
Sonny, yeah.
He was my mentor when I was a kid. So we're close. We're really close. And y'all pray for him. He's not as physically well as he wants to be.
Really?
Like many of us can be sometimes. You know, I took a hard hit with that COVID in March, and lost a fair amount of weight that I'm trying to get back. It's in my neck, my wife said. She said, "What happened to you?"
Yeah, you are thin. You are very thin. Yeah.
I'm glad that you're okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, I went from 6'4", 225 to now I'm 6'4" and 218 after going down to 6'4", 197. So but that's that old man fat core weight around your stomach and stuff. Man. That's what that is. That's what I'm gaining back. So but I still shoot foul shots and still beat people on a horse. And
still talking trash. Huh?
I want to give a shout out to the heel of the group, Melvin Washington. Has people on the edge, bro. It's so funny because going to high school with Melvin, he is the exact same person in high school that he is in the group.
Where did y'all go to school?
Morgan Park.
Morgan Park. Yeah, sucks to be y'all.
Come on.
But Melvin, I mean, he was like that in high school. He went against the status quo. I mean, he just never did.
Contrarian.
I mean, yeah, he was the contrarian.
I think that's cool. I think that's cool. That keeps groups alive, and that makes for good discussion. And discourse is everything, guys.
So is he a real LeBron? So is he a real LeBron fan, Lloyd?
Yes.
Everybody who says they're a LeBron fan are overboard LeBron fans. Every single person.
I don't know if I've ever seen him really overboard with the LeBron. I agree with you about a lot of other people.
Oh, say something to him about LeBron negative.
Oh yeah.
He gonna go cuckoo. Huh?
Oh yeah. And now that I know he's a Morgan Park native.
Shout out to Melvin. He's been the same since day one.
That's cool. That's what that means. Day one guys, huh?
He's been
on the basketball court too.
And he was a hooper. So sometimes I looked at some of the conversations and I'm like, okay, Melvin's talking from even though it's a sarcastic, pessimistic point of view, it was actually a basketball comment. And I was noticing how some people would get their, feathers ruffled. And I'm sitting up here like, man, you just don't know. He's just having fun.
He's just having fun.
He trolls, but if you really get him in a real basketball conversation, he got a lot of insight to give.
Right.
But
he
just like trolling, that's all.
Who was that?
I like watching him troll the new.
You're cutting in and out, Adrian.
That's hilarious when they first encounters brand new members to the group and they don't know how to take it.
Oh yeah, they don't realize he's not a Bulls fan.
Yeah, it's like shocking. It's like, wait a minute, why does this dude LeBron? What is this dude? Remember, because he used to like go at D Rose so bad, man. Be like, what? I used to ask him. I say, man, what did D Rose do to you? did he take your girlfriend? What happened?
I think the funniest moment was when D Rose said that he wanted to go to his child's graduation. Oh, Melvin ran with that.
Well, that was pretty bad too. To me, I thought that was pretty bad.
But Melvin ran that into the ground. I was like, oh man. It was to the point where I was like, Melvin, my guy, but you making me sick too.
Yeah, but that was an excellent discussion point. And you will never get 100 people anywhere on the planet to agree to that 100% the same way.
Right.
It just won't happen. I knew exactly what he was talking about because I knew where he lived. I knew where he played basketball in Stewart. I know his brother, and I know his family, and that's an amazing story to not have to live that level of poverty ever again. And if you don't know about poverty, then it just sounds like, this is America. It's not like we're in Bangladesh. It's not third world country. No, but it's America. And when you live like that, and you come out of the store with a bag of chips and a pop, and the cops ride up on you and shake you down as 12-year-olds, and you don't know why, or you've been told why, and you think you're a wise ass and you know how to deal with, it's a very, very challenging thing to become a father.
Yeah.
And decide that you want to make sure, because we all make this mistake at some point or another if we're parents. I want them to have what I couldn't get.
Right.
Instead of saying, I want them to know what I didn't know.
Right. Want to have
That's
knowledge.
Parenting.
Want them to have
That's
knowledge.
Parenting.
Yeah.
And at that point, he was learning to parent, guys.
Well, you know what? I would say, Coach, in fairness, because I was really turned off by Rose when
I understand.
When he said not that 25 year, I thought that was funny, but when they were asking him when he think he'd come back, and he was like, only God knows, and that really turned me off. I'm like, man, this team is struggling, and they really need you, and here you talking about when only God knows, and like it came off like he didn't really care. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But in retrospect, as I've had time to analyze him as a person, I think that he struggled to communicate what he was thinking and feeling. And I think what he probably meant was, man, it's in God's hand. I don't really know when I'm coming back because my body is not.
Right. That is what he's trying to say.
Right.
Yeah.
Dave would know this. Training guys and helping guys develop his basketball players skill-wise. When you're an elite, physical, world-class athlete, and we're not, it's pretty hard to understand what that is they do without thinking about it.
Yeah.
At 6'4", at 16, I had this whole scenario of how it's going to look, who was watching it, those girls watching, everything else, trying to lead a foul line like Dr. J did in '76 and dunk a basketball at Parkside Playground. That's not what they do, and when they do that, they're in trouble. That's what happened to Simone Biles.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference between doing the floor exercises and doing a beam. She can minimize her risk and get a bronze medal, and knew that she can get a bronze medal just doing this minimum right here, that she could max out and not take a chance by doing double twists and all that stuff. When you don't know, or when you're unsure at that level, there's just simply no reason to do it. There's no reason to do it. To appease Tim and Jay and Adrian, because we haven't seen you in 13 months and the doctor said that you're cleared to play. That's one thing. And maybe you want to appease everybody. Maybe you want to follow that narrative. Maybe you want to be a good soldier for the Bulls. And then you get out there and you dribble and stuff like that. and it doesn't necessarily feel bad. Like we feel bad when we get aches and pains trying to do an athletic endeavor. That's completely different. It's night and day. We'll never get to that.
Yep.
But when they think they can't do it, they better not do it.
Oh, I get it, because I've had sports injuries. I mean, I've played
Mm-hmm.
multiple sports growing up. I played football, baseball, basketball. Even as an adult, I was playing in softball leagues. And when I play something, I play. And when I'm running around the bases, I'm running the bases. And there are many times I've pulled that hamstring.
Absolutely.
It take me like a month or more to get back to myself. It seems like it take a long time just to feel safe and comfortable to do what I normally do.
Not to go balls out to play ball again, just to walk. Or to be able to sit down and get out of a chair. All that.
Jay, what position did you play in baseball?
I play any position, brother. Only position I never really cared to play, and I've balked on was playing catcher. I can catch, but I just didn't want to be getting beat up by the ball and squatting all day. I was like, screw that. I can pitch. I can play any position.
Because I didn't hoop in high school like Dave did or like Melvin did. I watched them as they were hooping in the games and from the stand. I played baseball. So a lot of my comments, I have to restrain from being like, man, this is how you approach it in baseball. So, I was always, so one of the things I noticed about in the Bulls party groups, especially during the transition years, that Boylan Hoiberg fiasco, whatever that was, that failed experiment, as you called it, Jay, the failed experiment. One thing I noticed is that and I noticed this with Laurie too. At times he struggles with the angles of the game as how to approach it versus having all of the, you got some athletes, some players that just got enormous athletic, ability to do some things where it doesn't take a whole lot of effort. Whereas for somebody like a Laurie, where I got disappointed with him was, okay, you're not the most athletic jump over the rim type of guy, attack the rim type of guy. But if you know the angles of the court and how to approach the angles, you should be able to make some plays.
Right, you should. And to me, it's IQ. Now, I didn't play high school ball, but I played as much sandlot ball as anybody. When I'm talking about basketball, I played as much sandlot ball, and I would compete against anybody. And one thing that I don't know if it was a natural progression, but it seemed like at some point the game just became second nature, and my mind would be on a whole nother level. I'm seeing things ahead of time. So it's, to me, when I see guys doing certain things, I get pissed off because I'm like, that's elementary stuff.
Yeah.
This is basketball, man. You get to the hoop, you get as closest to the hoop as you can, and you score. That's just basketball. If you're crashing the board, or you're coming down the lane and somebody else man check off on you, boom, automatically I already know somebody else should be cutting. Somebody should be slashing. I'm ready to drop a dime. And if you ain't got nobody cutting and slashing, I don't want to play with them.
I think the common sense aspect has bypassed him too, because if you know you done missed 9 straight shots, why not try to draw a foul?
Why not go?
You're 7 feet. You're 7 feet.
I'm just saying some of it is just elementary basic basketball, man. I don't get, some of these guys make it too hard.
I was gonna say a lot of that is not like just Lowry. That's just how these guys play now. That drives me crazy. That kind of thing. I'm like the Rockets. Remember, they missed all them threes. Like, dude, okay, at some point you missed 20-something threes. Like, go to the basket.
Get to the rack. I mean, the greatest basketball player.
From the coaches, though, guys.
Yeah,
that's hope ball from the coaching staff.
That too. Yeah.
You stop it from happening if you don't like it. If you don't like that shiggity, then you tell them to stop doing it. If they keep going down there and blowing possessions, just sit them down.
Take them out.
Just sit them down. I don't care how.
They used to do it all the time to other players. Why not him? They did it to Bobby Portis every single time.
Yeah.
And they would bench him.
But when the GOAT is Michael Jordan, as far as I'm concerned. When the GOAT was struggling, what did he do?
He went in the post. He went to the hole.
Thank you. They keep shooting trash.
he was on a different level because they ran a triangle offense. So
But when
he could pick his spots where he felt better about doing something. You know, sometimes he could just play off the ball. All right. And the ball swings away from the triangle left to the top, and Robin to throw it down on the elbow, and he catches himself with Dana Barros on him at 6'1". Oh, now I feel much better about myself than I did when what was that boy that played for, gave him problems all the time from UNLV, left-handed guy. He didn't like him. He played him with Stacey Altman. He played him with. So if you get your chance, I'd rather have, you know, Greg Anthony guard me than I would Stacey Altman.
Yeah, but I guess my bigger, larger point was when his mid range or his shot wasn't dropping, he started getting to the rack. He started posting up. He started posting up. He started getting to the rack, and then now I'm starting to feel it. Now I can start getting back out here in the mid range. You know,
he was a big, strong kid.
These guys don't do that stuff, man. They'll keep throwing up, like you said. They keep throwing up them threes. I'm like, what? Man, he got a wide open lane.
But he's right though. A lot of it is coaching. A lot of it is coaching. It's the coach.
It's coaching. Why do you think Brad Stevens sold out and went upstairs? Brad Stevens sold out and went upstairs. And 4 years ago, Brad Stevens was a genius, according to everybody.
Right.
According to everybody
Him
else.
and Spoelstra were absolute geniuses.
Yeah.
They were absolute geniuses.
I'm definitely guilty of that.
Got to do is coach the guys he get, because he ain't got no horses.
But we have no
scrap. You got a bunch of guys. You got these guys, and they just, you know, and they 6'2".
I like Jason Tatum though. I wish we
I like
had
Jason Tatum too, but he needs to go to the bucket more. He's the prototypical guy you just expanded on.
The right coach, he'd be a monster, wouldn't he?
He can get to the line 20 times a game.
He can do anything he wants.
Yep.
Hey, Dave, he can do anything he wants.
Anything.
Him and Zion and that kid from Denver that got hurt.
Murray?
Huh?
Jamal Murray?
Murray. You know, guys like that. You have to look a little harder and you'll see why they can do what they do. Well, Joker. Jaylen Brown, and nobody gives him any credit for anything.
He's nice. I like him.
Jaylen Brown makes your game easier because he can do it inside, he can do it outside. He's not afraid to do it. And then he gets hurt. There's a lot of guys like that. You know, they get hurt and they could go to the Y and kick the hell out of everybody. But, you know, that mental health thing with pro athletes when they're not right, and it's different from sport to sport, you know, and it has everything to do with your ability to go back next year and get the same $25 million you got this year, but you were hurt for 47 games. Mm-hmm. That's not going to happen in football. Sorry.
No, you
get cut in baseball.
You get cut in football.
You're gone. There's no way. They'll never pay that kind of money in football. They'll never do it because
not with that hard salary cap. Not with that hard salary cap. They can't afford to do that.
They can't afford to do it, and so that drives things. Money, experience / maturity or immaturity, and what system you're running, and do you like the coach enough to say okay? Sometimes it's just okay, Dave. You know it. Sometimes it's just a simple word. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
You know, those guys don't sit around. They don't sit around and talk like you do in high school or AAU. They don't talk to the coach. They're not friends with the coach. They couldn't care less about the coach. They just don't. That's not what they do. Those guys go out with Kendall Jenner. That's what they do.
So all those feel good stories about Jim. Well, it wasn't really many feel good stories about Jim. Well, remember when our boy, what's it, Daniel? What's the name? He got traded to Washington. Daniel Gafford straight up threw balling under the bus, man.
Gafford just told the truth.
It was so funny though.
He told the truth.
Yeah,
and it was beautiful. Can you imagine people telling the truth about Fred Hoiberg? Oh,
Jimmy Butler.
JB did.
Yeah,
he's going to say what he's going to say.
Jimmy is wild, man. Jimmy wild, man. Jimmy's up there in Minnesota just wrecking havoc. They're all of them soft. That's why I said it. I told him that in practice too.
He was right about that too.
That's right. That's right. He's a character. He's Jimmy Butler is Texas country.
Yep.
And if you close your eyes, you think you're talking to a white guy. But that's away from the camera and away from interview mode. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's very country and very white.
But he was able to find his niche, because you got to think about it. When D Rose got hurt, nobody was looking at Butler as if he was going to be what he was 4 years down the road.
Oh,
yeah.
He worked.
And
he worked.
He's a byproduct of repetition.
Yeah, he worked.
He just keep doing the same thing over and over. You see where his shots come from. He does that all the time. He doesn't do anything that doesn't include what he works on.
Yeah.
That's what the best players
do. Don't have that same drive either.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
Well, he's in the perfect situation now. Like, that organization is perfect for him.
Yeah, because they'll let him be whatever he wants to be. You know, and everybody doesn't do that. They let Kawhi be whatever he wants to be in LA. You know, like him or not. And more people don't like him than you know.
I know that.
And it has to do with the idea of load management.
He's LeBron's competition too. That's the bigger problem.
And that's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Hey, you hit it on the head. The biggest problem is anybody who's compared unfavorably to LeBron James.
I saw that coming years ago when he was coming up against LeBron. The LeBron haters were coming out claws with everything, teeth, claws and teeth.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. We have a very, very unique time ahead of us with this team in Chicago. But I will warn you all of one thing that I won't step back from. They are very young in some very important positions. And if your 4 is not just a balls out rugged guy, then that reflects on the team, Jay. You know, the toughness and the effort thing. If your 4 is soft, then you're likely soft as a team. Very likely.
But you
can have a great 2 that can really guard people. You can have a Pat Beverly that really goes all nuts and everything else. You can have all that stuff and that fake pretend.
But your power forward got to be tough.
Yeah, that fake pretend tough of Kendrick Perkins. They couldn't win nothing as long as he was with them at Oklahoma City. It was just fake tough.
Yeah,
like the fake tough that he does on television. I understand. I don't watch that crap, but I've heard him say some stuff, and he says some stuff that you can tell he's pandering. But you got to have a guy on a young team that really can do that stuff. I'm still on the other group, Dave. John Collins' uncle is on there. Galeno Davis. He's a football guy at South Shore. And he's a football head now. He at 50 something years old, he still want to run up on you and tackle you and all that kind of stuff. He's that guy.
My kind of dude.
I told him, I said, boy, I said, by the time you finish digging my foot out your ass, you keep doing that kind of stuff. Boy, you're gonna be mad forever with me. I don't talk about my football days. It ain't fair. But I think that if we get a guy who can play the 4, not named Patrick Williams, we're gonna be all right. Yeah. You don't have to go that big in the middle of games. In the middle of games, Pat and DeRozan and Kobe White, when he come back, those guys can play together, right? All on the floor together. But at the end of the game, you gotta have a guy that's 6'4", PJ Brown, that'll guard a guy whether you get beat up or not. You know, not just have a guy who's going to get beat up because you know that's what's going to happen, and that's where the ball's going to go.
So who do you think
the ball finds the bad defenders? It always does.
So who's available? Who do you think they should go after? What Lloyd's saying? Yeah.
Who do you think we should look at then? Because
I think what these guys have shown us is that whatever we're looking at, it doesn't even matter, because these guys are finding stuff that I wouldn't even think that they were looking at. So they could trade and get somebody that ain't even a free agent.
True. What I learned is rumors don't really mean nothing with this regime, but it's got to be, if there's like lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of smoke, then they might.
There was a lot of smoke.
Amen. If Sharms and Woj say it, It's happening, man.
Then it's happening, yeah.
It's happening. I
Yeah.
didn't like it, and I even would fight it, but it's happening. And every time they say something, there it is, man. So
Yeah. Then they get mad from
I was
the-
afraid that AK was letting out information because his rep is he keep it close, he keep it right.
I think it was the other teams doing that.
No,
I think
and it had to be. It had to be, Jay.
Agents.
agents too.
And
Yeah.
the agents doing whatever they got to do to drive the price up.
Yeah.
You know, that 3% or 5% or whatever they get, they mean that.
What
Yeah,
was
okay,
it? What's the name was trying to use the Bulls to drive his price up? The funny hair, colored hair boy out there.
Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah, he tried to use the Bulls.
Boy, I thought we was going to have a chance at Dennis Schroeder because Donovan coached him, and it scared me because that him and Zach would stare each other down before every game.
Mm.
That would be a terrible mix of guys. Lonzo Ball ain't gonna shoot the ball, man, unless he's wide open, and he shot 40% from the three. People can talk about him all they want to, except
he's gotten better. He's gotten much better. Yeah.
If he shot 100 of them, he hit 40. If Luka shoots 100 of them, he hit 29. And so it's all relative. You know what I mean? You know, I'm not comparing Luka to any of them. Luka is bad as that's as bad a guy as I've ever seen, man.
Yeah, he's tough.
He's a playmaker.
That there's a reason why you don't hear a Larry Bird comparison.
I thought I was the only one. I really did. I thought I was the only one that could see some of that in him. He got that swagger a little bit.
He reminds me of a young man in an old man's body, but has an
old man game.
It's like an old man slow.
Got that old man game.
He got the time.
That's why you slow down. That's why you don't rush. Because it's basketball. You got the ball. You always had the advantage over the defender. All you got to do is show it, bring it back, get past somebody's shoulder. And once you get past somebody's shoulder in the NBA, that's it. It's over. Now, maybe this rule change might do something because you can't. Right now, you can't touch nobody.
Because the job is to put the ball in the hoop. That's it. And all that other stuff, all that other flair, and it's just like a coach told me one time. Maybe this was a football when I was helping coach some little league. He was like, "Yeah, you can call 25 different plays. We were on a goal. We was on a goal line, somewhere down on the goal line. He was like, you can call 25 different plays, but the job is to get that ball across the line.
33 dive."
And I was like, you know what? I can't argue.
Go in that three hole and get in there. That's it. That's all.
Job is to get the ball across the line, So you want to look pretty doing it, okay? But you might fail. But anyway, yeah, I totally agree. But if they do a sign and trade with Laurie, I'm suspecting they're going to get a power forward.
I hope so.
In some kind of deal. Yeah.
I really hated that we had to give up Thad, even though I like DeRozan. I just thought I liked that we still
wanted to hold on to Thad. Yeah. Pop must have insisted on him. Somebody insisted on Thad. Something.
I was surprised. I thought they wanted Lowry or whatever, but
okay. You plays in the middle.
You would think, right?
Huh? He plays in the middle of the floor.
Yeah.
He gets 5-6 assists a game, catching the ball, turning left-handed. Nobody understands how to guard left-handers ever. I don't know why. Yeah. And next thing you know, he throws somebody a down or a lob for a dunk.
Yeah,
that's what DeRozan is getting ready to do, but DeRozan can score 20 points a game.
Right. And they still ain't figured out how to go at James Harden. Even though he's always been left-handed.
Nobody understands.
Man. It's so awkward guarding lefties.
It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. Your brain is just not used to it.
Hey, if he killed me going right, so be it. I ain't giving him nothing left. Because he goes left all the time.
Some of your best shot blockers block shots with their left hand if they're right-handed and vice versa.
Yeah.
And it's about where you can logically block the shot at its apex before it comes down. And left-handers got to go with their right hand, and on the other side of the floor, they're more able to block shots. And that's where weak side help defense comes from. That's the origination of it. And just Rick Adelman watching Bill Russell film. That's what he did. He watched Bill Russell film. He said, "That's what he's doing." He blocks shots with both hands. They're not even keeping count of this. They're not even recording it. He was getting 15 block shots a game, and nobody knows it unless they watch the film.
Now with James Harden, I like the old James Harden, but this new James Harden,
he makes me sick.
I'm not mad at him because, and I posted this in the room, and a couple people, disagree with me, and that's cool. One thing about him, this new James Harden, they had to make a rule to stop what he had going on because he figured out something within the rule structure that worked for him. I mean, even though you don't like how can I say that? Like Trae Young,
Trae Young is doing it. CP3 doing it too.
Yeah, you know what I mean. They found something within the rules.
But is it really within the rules? Because if you call basketball like it's supposed to be called, they wouldn't be getting that trash. If basketball was basketball was being rough like it should be, there's no way in the world they'd be getting those kind of calls. If anything, they'd be getting offensive fouls for sticking their legs out and all that other crap.
Yeah, that stuff. Yeah.
Well, I think Jeff Malone and Reggie Miller and Michael Jordan and plenty of guys did that back in the 80s and the 90s. The difference was it wasn't a point of emphasis because it wasn't being done behind the 3-point line, because coaches didn't want you to shoot 3-pointers because it was stupid to shoot 3-pointers at 30% proficiency, while you had guys on the floor like Artis Gilmore and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar shooting 65-70% from the field inside in the middle of the floor, getting 2 points at a time. And then you look up and you see the scores, you say, well, what do you mean LA 123, Boston 119? How they score that many points and not shoot 3-pointers? Because they went down there and they got the shots the closest to the rim you can go. The James Harden thing and Trae doing it and Trae hesitating and waiting for people to run up his back and stuff like that, they're going to get rid of that because
they are.
It's obvious.
It makes for bad basketball to me. I don't like that. This is horrible. Look,
and now the consensus is in. It's bad for everybody. Everybody hates it. They're just not. They're just, and people make this excuse about we don't want to see the malice in the palace anymore. So we want to reduce the physicality in ball. That wasn't about physicality.
No, that was
about Ben Wallace punking Ron Artest out. That's all that was.
Yeah.
And Ron Artest ain't want none of him. He turned his direction into some other
somebody in the crowd. I've been saying that ever since it happened.
Yeah.
He didn't want none of Ben Wallace. He just wanted to go up.
None of Ben Wallace. None of that would happen.
He want to go up in the crowd and fight somebody.
Yeah. And I saw Ben Wallace up close one game and nobody wanted Ben Wallace. Because he's like 6'7", and he's as wide as he can't go in the doorway straight. He got to turn.
Did you say something, Adrian?
Yeah, I'm heading out, man. I got to get early start tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
We'll
be wrapping it. We're wrapping it up anyway. Yeah,
hey, man, save some lives, man. Keep doing what you do, bro.
All right. I'll see you guys in the chat.
Okay. So, fellas, if you give your if you can give your closing thoughts.
Well, I'm excited. I would like to see how this team continues to build out the rest of this free agency period and into the preseason. But I am excited. I will say that.
Okay. Well, we appreciate that, Adrian.
All right.
All right, gentlemen, you can give your closing thoughts. Yeah.
I'm very pleased to have spent this time with you guys, man. It's been 2.5 hours. That's great. And
I didn't know that. Yeah.
And no, this is cool, man.
Yeah.
This is cool. I appreciate having the opportunity to talk with you guys, man, and we can fellowship in such a way that we understand that you have to consider all you can when you see something written down. Hemingway wrote some wonderful stuff. He was a drunk.
Yep.
I'm just writing stuff, man, and I'm coming from a perspective of how I would approach a game, how I would approach trying to guard a guy like Chris Middleton when he's hot, and how can I cool him down? Because that approach will get me to the fourth quarter, and I can take him away, and now we can concentrate on making a wall for a guy, while everybody else might be thinking, "Oh, this guy's a superstar, and he can do this, and he can do that." And I can't think about the superstar part of it because the game ain't over yet.
Right.
All I can think about is the game.
All I know is if he ain't dunking it or laying it up, he ain't scoring. That's what I know.
That's correct. So I look at the game from the standpoint of how can I get mine and how can I take yours away? That's the way I look at the whole game, and so I don't read easy where it impacts the Bulls, because the Bulls haven't done anything for 6 years. They just haven't done anything. They were what were they? They were 15-20 at a point, and I pull the receipts. And I said, if they're 15-20 and they're playing 72 games, that means these guys are going to have to win X amount of games and not lose X amount of games in order to get into this top 10, not top 8, top 10. I said, they're not going to do it, guys, because they're not good enough, because they're being coached for the future right now. The next thing you know, Vukovic came and the other guys were gone. I said, now this right here is a period of adjustment that they're going to have to make, because this big man can't shoot the ball outside. He can do some different things. He can't stop a tub by turning the water off. And y'all ain't seen it yet, and you ain't gonna see it. That's why you have to get a power forward that can do that. All right. That can switch that. That Vukovic can be responsible for maybe chasing a stretch four more than wrestling around with a guy like Embiid, who he don't want to wrestle around. And then see Drummond when Embiid sit down. We don't want our starting center to guard him. He can't guard Embiid and then have to deal with Drummond too. The Drummond at the Lakers, forget about that. Forget about that. He's a 2020 guy. He can do it,
Yeah, I actually wanted JaVale as our backup center.
That would have been nice. Another Chicago guy.
We went to Phoenix, which was a good move for them.
Yeah, Phoenix is understanding.
They couldn't last year.
They needed him a month ago, a couple of weeks ago. But there it is. Hey man, I appreciate you guys. Allowing me to talk. I'm a little long-winded today because I was excited about the opportunity to talk to you guys.
No, I welcomed it. Personally.
Because I was tickled.
I've been meaning to actually inbox you for your number a long time ago, and I just never got around to it.
Yeah, and I'll make sure you get it. And if you guys want my number, I'll make sure you get it. And and when we can all get together, man, we can all get together in somewhere and watch a game or dare say
we have to
play a game.
do that too. Yeah.
That would be great.
Well, your closing thoughts, Lloyd?
Man, I'm just happy that it's a new day in Chicago. Like for real, I'm just so excited, because of the possibility that's ahead of us. At least we have a chance for something versus, you know what I mean? Because at the rate we were going, I had said this on an old post. I said, once they clear out everybody from the D Rose Tibbs era, I legitimately thought that Gar Pax had put us on a 12-year plan.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And it started becoming, man, as much, I felt like, what was the word? Like sad, depressed, frustrated all in one watching these past couple of seasons. But now that we got a different coach, Billy Donovan, I'm eager to see what he can do with his lineup, because I still believe that I don't believe he's the best coach, but what I think is going to help him is Maurice Cheeks.
Mo's a good coach. He's a good coach. He's a veteran, and he's a teacher. And you can't teach Kobe White to do something that he shouldn't have to do because he does something else.
And he's from the 8 ball from 108th and Morgan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I knew you Morgan Park guys would pull that out your butt.
Well, I actually live about 4 houses down the street from him.
Yeah, there's a reason why he went all the way down. He ran all the way to the low end to play ball now.
That's where he's really from, ain't it? The Quentin Scott family.
Yeah.
My grandmother told me he lived in their building on the low end.
Yep.
I just knew that his father lived down the street from me, and when he was playing for the Sixers, he was always over there.
him and Kevin Porter lived in the same building. I think it was 5147
I
Federal.
don't know. That's before my
something like
time.
that. Yeah. No, I'm from around those parts, the early part of my life. I know people.
Yeah.
Well,
We
you
played strikeout. We played strikeout against the wall with Kirby Puckett before anybody knew who he was.
oh wow.
And-
But don't it feel like Christmas in Chicago? Come on, we gotta agree with that. It feels
Yeah, that was my last post to you guys.
Strange feeling, right?
It's crazy, man. Because we've been BS for 6 years, man. And now we get a full season, and coaches get a full season, and a full off season, and a full preseason.
BS for 6 years.
Learn this.
BS for 6 years and finesse for 20.
Yeah, that's right.
Kobe White, I feel real bad that really messes up not only the team but him. I think this is an important summer for him. You know, this summer for Kobe, this could really affect his career going forward.
Yeah, could have had a full summer league. Yeah,
he's not going to be able to do anything because he got a shoulder. What are you going to do?
It's his third year. It's his third year, so he can come back after Christmas, after New Year's, and
yeah. But he's not going to.
And there's no pressure on him because these guys win 50 games, man. We should be pleased.
That's true. There's no pressure.
If they win 44, 45 games, I expect that. If they win under 41 games, it's going to be.
It's a failure.
That's a problem. Yeah, that's a
failure. It's going to be looked at. It's going to be looked at wrong.
Yeah, that's a failure.
48.
So I got a
team. Yeah.
I got a quick question. So with the shortened season last year, well, somewhat extended shortened season, does this year start around the average time that the NBA starts, or are we going to be?
It's just a little later.
No, it's going to start. Training camp in September, isn't it, Timothy?
September 20-something.
Yeah.
They're going to try to start like normal. Yeah, and they'll start the season the 20-something of October.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty normal. They used to start on Halloween and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm about to say, what I don't like is why don't they just go back to that, to what they used to do, like late October, early November?
Because they're number 2.5 in TV ratings in pro sports in North America, and they're trying to maintain that. And sometimes, and at times, you got to go ahead and pick your spots. And the best spot is during football season to play basketball Monday through Friday.
Gotcha.
And really, that's what they do. That's how the players get paid super maxes because of TV money. TV, it's all about TV money.
I agree.
And period. And maybe we'll do a college Zoom one day, so we could talk about college finances and how that's getting ready to change, and how they're going to extrapolate this money in such a way that it's not going to make any sense to anybody.
Yeah.
Right now I got a couple of kids that play for me that are entertaining offers in their little college towns to get $2,500 every time they appear at a car dealership. Or
oh wow,
that's creative. Yeah. Hey,
because they're doing appearances at a bar mitzvah, and it's crazy.
Let them make money. Why not?
I think it's a beautiful thing, but what I don't want it to happen is for it to get intercepted by Congress, and they start talking about different antitrust things. You'll read about it soon.
Okay.
And it's going to be depressing because they're simply going after black kids.
Yeah.
And their ability to get something. It's depressing. And I don't like them for that, and that's terrible, but this is America,
Right. Well, David, your closing thoughts?
1 second, let me read this. Yeah, man, I'm definitely excited as far as like I don't know if these moves going to work or they're not going to work or whatever. I don't know how good they're going to be. I'm just excited that they're trying to go for something. You know what I'm saying? They're not just sitting around, and they're trying to make some things happen. So I'm excited. I want to see how Billy Donovan put these guys to work, position to hopefully be a good team. I don't see, like we just said, I don't see any way they're not a 45 to 50 win team at least. Like they got to be at least that. If they're not, that is a failure. For sure.
Yeah, it's a failure. Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
I hope y'all pull back from that because I don't think it's a failure.
No?
I think somewhere between 38 and 44 wins is reasonable.
Well, this guy,
That's a failure to me, Coach. And
me too, bro.
Yeah.
They got at
Well,
least be a 500
I talk
team.
from the standpoint of what can happen, and one of the things that can happen that you can't discount is the fact that people are going to load manage and people are going to get hurt and they're going to be set out.
That happened.
You
can't drive a Rolls Royce over rough terrain. You just can't.
Yeah,
they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it.
That's true.
But injuries aside, I expect better than that though.
Yeah. Well, injuries aside, they might get 50 wins.
Yeah.
They might get.
I'm going to say something else. I think this Atlanta Hawks are the third best team right now in the East.
Maybe. They hit a lot of shots from Bogey, and he got hurt.
They're going to have Hunter back.
Yeah, Hunter's very important.
Hunter
is that dog that you need. You need that dog.
I don't know what they're going to do with Lou Williams, so are they going to bring him back or not? That's one thing, but
is he a free agent?
Yeah. Other than that, they got everybody coming back.
Free agent. Then LeBron and him already talked to him. He said, "No, man, I got to get some money. He ain't going. He ain't going with that $1 million and that vet exception stuff. He ain't hardly going." I was hoping they picked up Kendrick Nunn because Kendrick Nunn is better than what they have on the roster, aside from Kobe, Zach, Lonzo Ball, and I guess Caruso. I guess I'll warm up to Caruso once he starts doing something. I gotta see.
Nunn is definitely better than Caruso. Yeah,
but Nunn is a good player, and I know his father Melvin, and we watch these kids. You might even know Daryl Combs, Dave.
I know the name. I know that name.
Those Thornwood kids, and Nunn should have went to Thornwood, but like kids out here that don't go to Thornwood and Thornton and Thornridge, they go to Simeon. And they go to Mount Carmel. That's what they do. If they go into the city, if you offer them opportunity to go to schools like that for exposure. But those kids will be in the backyard, man, just shooting the ball. I didn't have to say anything to those kids. Me and Melvin would watch them play. Me and Reggie Rose would watch his little brother play. You didn't have to talk to, Pat Beverly. Me and his coach Lamont Bryant we just watched them do stuff.
They just
Beverly was one of the best I ever seen in high school ever. And playing basketball, man, when he was in high school. And something happened. You know what I mean? And he became something else so he could make the NBA.
He used to get buckets in high school.
Oh man, he was a 38-point-a-game guy, man. But there's that time inside. The greatest thing that ever happened to you and the not so greatest thing that ever happened to you. There's something inside there that happens to you that don't talk about the extremes, and it's mental, But I'm done talking, man. I'm listening till we sign off.
All right. Well, I'll give my closing thoughts and then we can sign off. So I'll say that yes, I am obviously excited because of everything that was expressed. Like you mentioned, the last 6 years we've been slapped around by the previous regime, and then prior to that they finessed us because they was given the appearance of trying to build a championship, and they lucked, like you said, they lucked up and got Derrick Rose, but they never really built a contender around him. I said that then. When LeBron and those guys were shutting Rose down, we had no offense. And I said, okay, so what needs to happen next is the management needs to go and get Rose some help. What did they do? They went and got an old what was his name? I can't even remember his name. Richard Hammond. Richard Hammond.
Oh.
And
I'm like, that's not the answer.
But that was the back end of what the talent base was in the NBA at that time. think about the net teams that went to the finals. Name 3 guys. Think about the fact that you saw a whole lot of Boston and LA. And after you talk about, I mean, the 4th guy on that Boston team was Rondo. And then think about the 5th guy was the goofball that's on TV now. I just mentioned his name. And,
Kendrick Perkins.
Yeah, but that was the best team in the East.
Yeah.
Until LeBron got it together to the point where he got with another team and they played and they lost and then they won. But the dearth of teams and talent in the NBA as Vince Carter got old, as Tracy McGrady got hurt and couldn't play anymore, as Grant Hill got hurt and couldn't play anymore. Everything was happening out west, man. Kobe literally ran the NBA.
Yeah.
He literally ran the NBA. And at a very, very quick point relative to all that stuff, in 7 or 8 years, LeBron clearly was the guy in the league. And, you know, I don't necessarily agree, and then I'm really done. I don't necessarily agree with there's more talent now and better talent now than the 90s or the aughts. I think guys are able to express themselves on the basketball floor easier than at any point since I've been watching basketball. You know, it's easy to get a layup now.
Yeah.
You don't even get hit.
The defense is different, so we know that they don't play defense the same way.
It's horrible.
Because of the rules change. But so the point I was making about Rose was the organization set the team up for failure because they never put the right amount of help from around Rose, and then Rose carrying all that load, and that led to an injury, in my opinion.
Let's be more specific about that, Jay. We got to be upfront because I said this a while back. The Bulls should have grabbed Monte Ellis when he became a free agent before, was it Milwaukee? Because you got to think about it. He was hot coming out of Golden State.
But they didn't want to pay him. Yeah, right.
We needed to.
Yeah.
That was the help that I believe that was the help that Rose would have had.
That Rose needed. Yeah, because that would have took a lot of pressure off of him having to do all the scoring, facilitate the ball, do everything. And then you got these other guys who are just, Noah was a good defensive center, rebounder. Dang, I don't know what, I'm not no disrespect to Dang, but who feared Dang?
Well, you had to guard him. You couldn't not guard him.
You couldn't, yeah.
And he was able to guard people without fear. I don't know how good he was at it sometimes.
But when Rose needed help, where was he?
Well, he was Luau Deng. But just like Noah was Noah.
Right.
You saw a different Noah once Rose got hurt, and Noah almost won MVP.
Right. Well, that's my point.
It's building a team without talent requires you to have one talent that's indisputable. And if he comes to a jump stop with a minute and some change left and hurts his knee and changes his trajectory, then CJ Watson is your next guy, or DJ Augustine is your next guy, or Nate Robinson is your next guy.
We had Keith Bogans. Come on,
Bogans playing the
no.
They weren't going to beat Boston. They couldn't beat Cleveland with those guys. No matter how much we cheered and screamed and hollered, basketball was going to happen at some point. Basketball will arrive in a game.
Well, my point being, had Rose had just one player to help him, we beat Miami.
Well, I probably, but he didn't, so they trapped him, and he didn't have an outlet to complete the trap except for Joe Noah. And once Joe Noah caught the ball 22 feet outside,
what are you gonna do with it? Right.
Top of the circle, who is he going to throw it to? Wasn't nobody ready to catch the ball and score.
Right.
That's why they got Boozer, and that didn't work either.
Oh, you had to bring him up, didn't you?
Yep. Yep. I have a photographic memory about some of your posts.
The biggest, the big, and I thought about it. The biggest free agent signing the Bulls had, or the Garpax had, was Paul Gasol.
Paul Gasol was their biggest signing, and not for the same amount of money as Boozer got.
And Paul, and
Butterscotch Boozer.
and Paul really wanted to come play with Rose. That's all that was.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for that, he wanted to play with Rose and Jimmy. If it wasn't for that, he wouldn't have came here. You know, so it wasn't like Garpax like, oh yeah, we're out there doing this great thing. So I think that I'm just like, I know I keep harping on this, but I'm just like, these dudes really thought that they were doing a good job. These dudes really thought that Jim Boylan should keep his job so much that they begged AK to keep that dude.
Mm-hmm.
These dudes, I mean, he was a whole clown. The whole world saw it. Every he was on ESPN. Everybody talked about him, except for Garpax. They sitting up there talking about how great this dude was. So anyway, I said all that to say, man, it's refreshing to see an aggressive organization who is not overvaluing draft picks and bungling draft picks, and you know, they're being aggressive. They're trying to win now. It's refreshing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey guys, I'm a break out and take this dog downstairs.
Yes, sir. We're gonna call it a night, man. And we thank everybody for watching, and we thank Lloyd and Tim for getting on here. Hopefully we can do this soon. We don't have to wait another month or two to do it again.
Absolutely. Hey guys, I'm gonna write the way I write. So now you understand why.
Yeah.
I enjoyed myself with this. It was refreshing to get up off the computer and hear some voices and, you know, put the faces with.
Yeah, that's everything. That's
exactly. Everything. All right,
Awesome.
y'all. I gotta get up early, man. I see y'all.
All right, y'all have a good one.
All right.
Be good, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.